think we're live. We're not live.
Are you sure we're not live?
I don't know. I don't have a picture on YouTube. Waiting for 239. Did it restart the timer?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Waiting for 239 live.
So that is.
If you guys can hear us, we are working without Diana today. No, those aren't set up for today.
Yeah, I don't hear her. Okay.
So we're restarting the timer in hopes that we can go live. You hit the go live button.
Yeah.
So we are live. We just don't see ourselves. Oh, there we are. Look.
There's a delay.
There's a
Yeah.
delay.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone. Welcome to 239 Live. Guess what? We are doing a special show today. It's restarting the timer. Oh, there we go.
Yep.
Now we got to see, are we going to see ourselves? So we don't have Diana today. It is her day to do her life, appointments, things like that. And Jimbo's here. So first off, welcome to a special edition of 239 Live. We are here. We are kind of winging it. This is what started off literally as trying to do just some live interviews on Facebook on the weekend with candidates that we could get a hold of. We didn't want to do anything too formal. And then the next thing you know, we have 8 candidates coming in and 3 that are going to try to make it. So we have a jam-packed, and not kidding, 3 hours. First, thanks to Jimbo for pitching in because I was a little worried.
Well,
I
thank
was
you
a
for
little
doing
worried.
this, Kristen.
I was like, oh, I can do this. Just do a couple Facebook lives and get some candidates on here. And I started reaching out. And the next thing I know, some people can't do Facebook. I don't know if it's because their business pages or whatever. You can't go live and can't connect to a personal and whatever. And the next thing you know, we ended up here in the studio. So good times, good times.
Beautiful. And thank you for doing this because this was your idea,
Thank
your
you.
energy behind it. But it's important if we are the platform we say we are, that people get to see what they get to see out of us. And that is community efforts, community involvement, and
Yep.
community information. And there's no better time to get community information out than elections.
And, we had a pause between early voting and with the polls reopening. Early voting ended on Saturday in most communities and definitely in ours. And it doesn't reopen until tomorrow. So I'm like, well, we have 2 days for everybody to take a deep breath. And then also I'm a little undecided. I have some good ideas of where direction I'm headed, but I'm not 100% comfortable with my decisions. So that was kind of how this started too.
Yeah, and it's a big election. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of movement in AI, a lot of different stuff going on. People don't really know. There's a lot of fear, a lot of different information out there. So to hear it from the politician's mouth,
And we
how
can
they
ask
feel
them
about it.
questions.
Sure. I'll let you do that.
Yeah, I have lists. I have lots of paper,
Yep.
as you can see. Now, let me give you all the rundown of who's coming on when. We have Tim Mosier is already here. We have yeah, right. We have Mike Colombo coming in. He's running for I believe it's Lee County Judge. We have Daniel Colwall coming in at 11:20-ish. These are a little free-flowing times, but we're trying to keep it as close as we can because we know this is also their last day to get out there
Yeah.
and knock on doors and shake hands and kiss babies and all that stuff.
This is it.
So we wanted to grab them at that little moment to help you undecided voters. Then we have, let's see, where is our next one? So Dan is 11:20. I put that person in the wrong place. Let me move that. Hold on, guys. Bear with me. Again, we just put this show together yesterday.
And I just learned how to be a producer 10 minutes ago. So,
Because we're just good.
that's it.
There we go. Terry Hasseldorf is at 11:40. Then at noon, between noon and 12:40, we are working on getting Who are the following? Good thing I'm doing this now so I can have everybody in order. Michael Carbonara and Jim Schwartzel, which, we've had Michael Carbonara on
Yeah.
before.
I think you
We
and Los interviewed him.
Right,
Yeah.
but we have not had Jim, so this is a good time for our audience
Yeah.
to really talk to Jim, um, and, see what he has to say.
Yeah.
Now, Lois is gonna try to come in around noon and give us all the polling places, where your districts are, things like that, how to find the information.
Do we have any information on how many people turned out for? I've heard that it was very light turnout for the, you know, early voting.
It was very light turnout for early
Yeah.
voting. I'm hoping because of the time of year that we have a lot of mail-in voting because we're still in
Right.
August.
Right.
People might still be traveling. They're not back home yet.
Sure.
And I think our county, I don't know, maybe would have Tim or Dan or somebody can speak to this, but I get the impression, at least in my district, that we have a lot of day ofs.
Yeah.
They're old school.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're old fashioned. They
Yeah.
want to go on the day. They don't
Yeah.
want to do the early thing.
Right.
There's conspiracies out there and they just want to go and know their vote counted
Right.
today.
So do you mail in or do you go to vote?
It depends on where I'm at in the world.
Okay.
When I used to travel a lot,
Yeah.
I would get the mail-in ballot
Right.
just in case.
Yep.
And then I would, if I was here, I would bring it physically
Right.
to the voting
Right.
poll location. But now I do mostly in person.
So do I. I like to see it. I like to see my freedom in action and the whole, concept of free elections and what's going on and all that. It's awesome to see working and, volunteers going on, the people working, uh, and yeah, people going in and having their voice heard.
I think it's very important. I put up a post the other day. I tried to make a list. Hold on a second. I tried to make a list, and even the best laid plans don't go awry.
Of course not. Are you
Um,
are you a big list person? Just
I am a big list person.
heard. You said whiteboard earlier, and I'm like, that's my language.
I do. I have the tear off.
Yeah.
I was going to do a
Nice.
run of show,
Yeah.
which would have helped me right now, but I ran
Yeah.
out of time.
Gosh.
But to answer your question, I think voting, is our civic duty.
Yeah.
And if you're going to complain and you didn't vote, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you like it is.
Yeah.
He's pressing buttons.
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't. I get it. I had somebody say that they're completely removing themselves from voting because they feel like it's rigged or all the politicians are the same. I've had people say they don't know who to vote for because they feel like both sides of the aisle are the same. I get it. I really do get it. But what I'm thinking is you got to pick for your community and say this is the best I can do right now. Because if you don't, what's the alternative of maybe the other candidates? Or this is a primary. So when you get into, the two parties versus each other,
Right.
what's your alternative? And then I say, if you can't figure out who's best for your community, then who's going to beat the other guy
Yeah.
to keep the community at least close to what you think it should be?
Yeah. I think the most important vote that you can cast, and it's my humble opinion, but I believe it is for a local politician. I think that's where the rubber hits the road. I think that's where you can get the most, bite for your buck, so to speak. But that's what affects you on a day-to-day basis. Those rules, the laws, the way they govern local municipalities, that is what you live with.
Yeah.
That is what makes you a better community. That is what makes you a bad community. That's what takes you right down into bankruptcy as a community and all these other things. These guys that we elect and girls that we elect to run our local government. I think that's the most important thing because we all know that when people, even with the best intentions, go up to Washington D.C.
True.
and the machine plays their games and gets going because there's a lot to that to
We
be
were
said.
just talking about it before the show
Yeah,
started.
and
Yeah.
I think there's a lot on the table this election. There's a lot of people up for election that are local, and
Yeah, the midterms.
yeah,
Yeah.
some reelection, some first timers. And
We've got a big field in some of these areas.
it's amazing. And then the whole redistricting is what is just
It's thrown people off a little
yeah,
bit. But I take the state of Florida, for example, we've grown so much that some areas stay stagnant because there is no more room to develop. Let's say Moorings, Park Shore, that area.
Yep.
I mean, you can put up a few more high rises or something, but
Don't tempt them.
I know, right? But really, there's no more space.
None. Just tear
So
down.
you may have to redistrict something to go put more people in that district because this district has grown so much.
Yeah.
Or you have to split the district, or there might not be enough to split the district. So you
Yeah.
have to massage it a little bit. So that we've had a lot of that in Florida.
Yeah. I think the new district is just it's too big, and I think it represents such a diversity of just cultural diversity from the East
Are you
Coast all the way
19?
across. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just it's insane. But yeah, get out and vote. I mean, local is where you really can make a difference. And again, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is all in our opinions. This show is just for, what do we say, entertainment value.
Yep.
And we are just here to inform, connect, do the best we can. But the views expressed here
Yeah.
are just our
It's just our
opinions.
opinion.
And we're going to have some
Yeah.
candidates on. We're going to talk about these things. I think what we're going to let me run through who's on again for people just joining us. So we have Mike Colombo. He's running for Lee County Court Judge. He is actually in court this morning, so he will join us as soon as he can get here.
From the pulpit.
He's
Bam,
he's in court as an
Yeah.
attorney. He's not a judge yet. He's running for judge.
That's right.
Then we have Tim Mosier here. So we may have Tim first so he can get on with his day while we're waiting for Mike.
Absolutely.
Then we have Dan Kowal. He's going to be here at 11:20-ish. All these are ish
He'll
because
be here,
we're
or
live.
these are all be here people
We have be here people, and then we have remote people
later on.
because Diana, she set that up for me.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Then Terry Hasseldorf is going to be on at, we have her at 11:40, and she's going to be remote. Then somewhere between noon and 12:40, we have Michael Carbonara, and we have Michael's got an extra page here. Why is that printed funny? Jim Swartzel. Am I saying that right? Schwartzel?
I'm not going to touch it. Yeah.
You know what? We haven't had him on before.
Yeah. So we can clarify that one.
So we can clarify
exactly.
that. We're going to have both of them on somewhere between 12 and 12:40, as well as Lois will either remote in or call or be here in person. She's going to talk to us about voting locations, times, probably some do's and don'ts, knowing Lois, things that people should and shouldn't do when they're at the polls, or can't and cannot do.
Yeah.
I heard that taking a picture of your ballot in the polling booth is illegal.
It is.
So everybody remember that, because I saw a lot of that on Facebook last year and Instagram, and their posts got dinged.
Yeah.
Let's not get our social media dinged.
Yeah. Well, you also don't want to get a knock at the door at 2:00 in the morning.
Right. And then we have David Burke at 1 p.m., which I have not interviewed, so that's great. And then Michael Thompson at 1:20. And what's really great about this too is we have a lot of District 22, which is a full field.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a full field.
And that's what's throwing people for a curve. A lot of people in 19 didn't realize they're now in 22.
Right. They're finding out, and they're scrambling. We did try to get a hold of Madison's team. I know he's doing his door knocking and things like that today. So if they call in, great. I know I reached out to River, and we're going to see what we can make happen there. I also did reach out to some of our candidates that people are, I don't know, either not aware of or unsure of, but they're social media sensations and they've really gotten a lot of traction. So Bobby Williams, I reached out to his team. I have not heard back. So if anybody has anybody they can call and they want to call in, we'll send them a link. I'm happy to do it.
Sure.
And then Matt the welder. He's apparently doing very good. I've had people that are, pretty red.
Wow.
And they are like, I voted for him.
Wow.
So I thought if we could get him on, if you are out there campaigning today and you want to be on, give me a text, 239-370-7908. That's this right here. I can see about slotting you in between that 12 and 12:40 hour. And get you on for a few minutes and you can have your say. I don't want, this is very nonpartisan.
Yeah.
If you're
We're
running,
just here to give the information you want to share out of
uh,
your mouth to the ears of the voters.
exactly. I
Yep.
mean, I will give you my opinion when it comes to common sense, but I'm not, yeah, I know, right? My common sense, I
Yeah.
guess I should say,
In our humble opinion.
in our humble opinion. But
Yes.
I think we're going to do, let's see, still in core running late. I can do remote or yes. But hold on. We have somebody running late. So let me
And
tell.
is it legal or is it okay? Maybe Tim can answer it. If on the day the polls are open, can a candidate come on a show like this and still speak, or is it?
Yeah, as
Yeah.
far as I know. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
so let's throw the challenge out. If you're not on the show today and you find out about this and you want to have your voice heard tomorrow, we start at 10 o'clock in the morning
yeah, tomorrow's we're
on
here
our
from
239 live show.
good idea.
Yeah, you can call in, and we can put you through, and you can have your say
Yeah, let
on
me
the
know.
polls.
You can find me on social media, Kristen Weirden, anywhere.
Yeah,
Or you can text me 239-370-7908. We can set up a time if you can't make it today and you can make it between the 10 and 12 hour.
yeah,
I think that would be great. You're going to be here tomorrow, right?
yes, I'll be in
Okay.
for Lois
So we'll
tomorrow.
just
Yeah.
continue this tomorrow, but we really wanted to squeeze in as many people as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and have Tim come up a little bit early because Mike Colombo is still in court. So, hey, Tim, come on up.
Hey, Tim.
Um, let me do my,
Long time no see.
I know, right? Let's see. We are going to go here. And Tim Mosier, Collier County School Board District 5. He is an incumbent for District 5 on the Collier County School Board, elected in 2022. His main message has been back to basics, fiscal responsibility, school safety, strong reading and math, parental involvement, and career and technical education. Hey, Tim, I'm so glad you could come on.
Oh, glad to be here.
I think this is,
Hello, Tim.
I think this is a great, last, let's get to know Tim if you don't know Tim.
All right, ask any question.
Okay. Oh, ooh, I love that. I love that. So
Yeah.
actually, okay, so these are a couple questions that came up yesterday. Um, since taking office, what is one concrete result you are most proud of and or has directly helped students or both?
I just think I think the biggest thing that we did is we got phonics back into the classroom so kids can start learning how to read. I mean, that's the biggest thing. 50% of the kids coming into school don't know alphabets, don't know numbers, don't know anything.
And
So
what age is that?
they usually come in about 5. So, I mean, parents should be helping out there, getting their kids reading books. I mean, just you're a parent. I mean, you have children, love them, read them books, and then get them into reading books.
I think with this thing, we've gotten away from reading.
Yeah, but
even
you still
as-
have to read it. You still have to know your alphabet.
Right. You still, I think we've gotten away from the physical reading of books for kids. I think there's a lot of people who've done the, put on the TV, put them in front of a screen. But
Exactly.
what I found with my children is when I read to them, they would go start to pick out books as at 3 years old of like favorite stories and things like that. And both my kids are avid readers now. And I really think there was something in that.
Yeah, my 2 daughters are big time readers. I mean, every time, I mean, it's like, can we go to the library? And I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
We go to the library and just have, fun. They'd pick out
Yeah.
a bag full of books and then bring them home. And then like, we go
Right.
back. It's like, you didn't read them? You didn't like them? It goes, oh no, we read them already.
We read them already, right?
Yeah.
How about your kids?
Oh, yep. My daughter and now my granddaughter are just prolific book readers.
See,
Yeah.
I think it
know
helps all around. Yeah.
It does. Well,
Okay.
what is it? Readers or leaders, learners or earners?
Exactly.
Wow. I don't, have I heard that before?
I don't know.
I
You have
say that
now.
again.
Readers or leaders, learners or earners.
Oh, we've got a quote today already. We're starting off good.
In my humble opinion.
It's
I
already
can't do
good.
that. Yeah.
We
So,
gotta-
well, let me ask you a question about the phonics. Is that something that we can track and gauge and see how? Are we the only county that's doing that?
I think
kind
there's
of
other
thing?
counties that do that,
Right.
but we had lost that. Now we had brought it back.
Perfect.
Kelly wanted to bring that back. I got elected with her, and we put that in, implemented it. Took about a year, and it's just taken off. It's done really great.
Nice.
I bet the teachers like it.
Yeah, and another thing, and talking about teachers, is it seems like they're always changing up the books, and the superintendent's been up in Tallahassee. Let's keep, I mean, English is English, math is math. Let's keep them. And it seems like the books only go so far. Then we have to, they go out of publication. Let's keep them published. Let's keep them rolling around a little bit, longer. I mean, nothing has really changed that much. I mean, English is still English, math is
Especially
still
the
math.
younger. Well, yeah, English is still. Yeah, it is kind
And
of.
it makes it easier for the teacher because if you get a new book, then you have to get a new curriculum guide. You have to go through, you have to retrain the whole staff and everything. It's just putting more stress on them, and they already have it. And it gets expensive.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you look at your average book, it's probably, about yay thick, and it's pushing $200, where if you go and buy a normal book to read, I mean, you're talking what, $29 to $39.
Yeah. Yeah.
So someone's making money.
Do you feel like that the core math change there for when was that, the 90s or whatever, really pushed this some new curriculum ideas, and therefore we had to get all these new books, like 2 + 2 no longer equals 4 kind of thing?
No, and it used to be, if you could figure out the question and you figure out the math problem, you're okay. Then all of a sudden, when core came in, they decided, how did you do that? Well, I can't figure it out. I have 2 fingers. I put them together. I got 4. We want to see how you do that instead of just coming up with the answer.
Yeah.
Wild.
And it's
It's
like
crazy.
when I was running, I went to McDonald's one time, and I just, the guy said, I think came to $6.42 or 47 cents. And I'm like, oh, here's 2 extra pennies. They already punched in my $20 bill, and it's like, stump them. And it's like, well, just reverse count it. And they were like, at McDonald's, what's that?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I gave you 2 cents. So now that backs us to $6.45. Or here's a nickel. That gets you up to $6.50. Here's 2 more quarters. That's 7, 8, 9, 10. And then the $10 bill. There you go. $13 and
I have PTSD from learning how to count change back. I was probably 7, and my parents owned a restaurant. And, it was so much, there was all cash back then. And what was this, 77s probably. And my stepfather stood me at that register the entire day. And just when we got change, he goes, okay, what do you do? I was like,
just count backwards.
from
Yeah.
that day forward, I have always been able to count change back. And I can do it in my sleep. I mean, but when I went to work as a 13, 14, 15, 16 and on, boy, you've done concessions.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, most point of sales, because of the problem that you're referring to,
Mhm.
most point of sale systems sell with that change retriever in it. So all they have to do is ring the sale in, and when you hand them a money, it could be $10.05. They'll put in $10.05, and it calculates it for them.
and it was
It's like a calculator,
$20.05.
right?
Yeah.
But it's a calculator, So the point of sale systems have just dumbed it down for these people to do that.
Well, you've seen what's happened in the last year. They eliminated pennies.
Yeah,
So a lot of places you go to,
they won't take them.
they do take them, but then they can't figure out your change. So,
Yeah.
if you're supposed to get 3 cents back, they go, oh, they either round it up or round it down.
Yeah,
And it's
They
like,
don't
okay.
know how to do that.
yeah,
So they're figuring it out slowly, but still, why do we lose a whole penny?
yeah.
Well, we
Yeah.
were talking about teachers. So another question that came up was teacher recruitment and retention remains important. What steps are we doing to help that in Collier County?
Well, when we got on, we decided we should pay our teachers. So I think it was I don't remember the exact numbers. It was 10, 11, and 12% raise over the last 3 years, the first 3 years we were on there. And then we had ESSER funds, which was from COVID, which gave us the ability to pay the teachers more money. Now we're kind of in the position where we lost about 1,500 students because more or less graduated than coming in.
Mhm.
The birth rate kind of goes up and down every year.
Mhm.
So we're in a downward spurt for about another year and a half before we shoot back up.
Okay. Now I heard that you go to Tallahassee a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So is there committees? I mean, I know you have to go sometimes just to be in Tallahassee because that's where all the decisions are made. But tell us what do you do up there and why?
You talk to your legislators. When I ran for school board, I didn't know there was a school board association, Florida School Board Association. So before we went
Association for everything in Florida, brother.
exactly. So we went up to our first conference is in Tampa. So we went up there and you got to meet other school board members because we have the Sunshine Law. I'm not allowed to talk to any of my other school
Right.
board members here,
Right.
which I don't quite understand. But hey, if that's the game they want to play, that's the game they'll play.
Yeah.
So I can talk to every other school board members when I need opinions from somewhere else. So it gives me the opportunity to meet other people, talk to them, see what they're doing, and just see how they handle different things. So it's kind of nice. And then I've gotten on this, what was it, June, when we were up there for the conference, I just got put on the Florida School Board Association's state board. So I
Oh,
have my
wow.
conference in 2 weeks for that. And we're trying to get the funds, for the school districts, make sure everything's done correctly. The advocacy committee, I got put on that, membership committee, just whatever committees I can sit on. And then I also sit on the Greater Florida Consortium, which is another group that handles about 12 counties around the state. And we have a conference in September for that one, just trying to get money brought back. Because like I was talking to the county commissioners, I'm like, how's your budget looking? We got the first numbers. They're like, oh yeah, we went up 1 point some percent. And we get paid, we could get our funding based on student count. So if our student went down, we lose more funding.
Wow.
So it kind of goes, it's like a roller coaster going up and down.
That's got to be stressful.
Oh yeah. Like right now we are 4.46% below the rollback rate. So that hit us with about $70 million. So we had to really hit into our reserves. And it's, it's like, we can only have class sizes and we have to follow different rules than everyone else. If the county commissioners decide, hey, we need to tighten this, the budget a little bit, we don't have to rehire the police officers, the fire department. I guess fire department's something else, but they don't have to do what we do. We don't have to pave the road. We can do certain things. We need to raise the water bill or sewer bill. They can do that. We're just at the mercy of Tallahassee for all our funding.
And then you have the state makes rules. And this is why I was trying to tell people, and we'll talk to Dan about it when he comes in for development. The state will make rules, say on class sizes, I believe. You have to follow that, but then they give you, then your budget is someplace else.
Exactly.
And then they're like, but you have to meet the class size. And you're like, but you just cut my budget. How am I supposed to meet the class size? Because I need more teachers.
Like 2 years ago, they implemented, you have non-funded mandates. And I was talking to them up in Tallahassee and they go, well, you have enough money in your budget. Well, we had to go around and put a master lock system on every door so we could lock every classroom door to keep the kids safe.
Wow.
That was over $500,000.
Yeah.
For locks.
Yeah.
Well, not to mention, and are you aware of how many high schools we have now?
There were 3 when I was in school. I've lost count after like 5. We're
up to 9.
9, and I think if you take the private schools, then we're like 12, 13 or something like that. St. John Newman, Community, all those different private schools, FBA, all that. I don't know how they qualify, but that's a lot of schools. So that growth is mandated by state regulated class sizes and how we have to move these people around. I mean, Gulf Coast got too big, Palmetto, all these different things get built. That's expensive.
Yeah.
And it's expensive to maintain. How does Collier County, how do we kind of look at that balancing act of doing that? And there's a lot of misconception. I talked to people before and they said, oh, well, the bed tax goes to some of the education. I'm like, does it?
Does it?
A little bit. We're like a donation county. So about over 80% of our tax dollars, property tax comes back to us. And then the rest comes from other areas. And like sales tax. And they all the money kind of goes up to Tallahassee, goes into kind of like a big blender. And then they figured, okay, this is where we got to go. And then they divide it up.
Yeah, I think people don't realize like, oh, we have our sales tax. Oh, we have this. Oh, we have that. But by the time they've promised it to 50,000 other organizations and people, you might just get a piece of it.
Right. I mean, Collier County does great, but look at other counties like Glades County. I mean, they only have 1,200 students in their entire county going to school. So the state came over, took them over, and now I think they're almost ready to go back because I think they had 340 some employees and 1,100 or 1,200 students.
Wow.
So you still have to pay the people no matter what.
Yep.
Right. And you still have to maintain the schools and things like that, regardless for how many kids are in the building.
Right. Now that we're debt
That's expensive.
We're debt free. We've paid off our 20-year bonds for the last handful of schools that we did 20 years ago. Now it's been 20 years. So now you need air conditioning, roofs replaced, everything else done.
The next level of maintenance.
Right. And then we have the impact fees, which has covered our last couple of schools. And in the last 4 to 5 years, it's gone through the ceiling. We built Audrey Rogers for, I think, about $98 million. We already had the land. And now Sarasota's building almost the same school, a little bit smaller, for $220 million.
That's wild. I know I had Paul Manley on the Icons of Naples podcast that I do. And he was telling me when they built his school, how many things weren't done. But they needed those. We'd grown so much. They needed to get the kids somewhere. Exactly. And they didn't have they had no gymnasium. And they came, it just wasn't finished. And there's been so much growth in Naples, in Collier County. What's your biggest challenge in the school district with the growth that we're experiencing, or are we not experiencing it as much as the rest of the state?
Right now, I think we're kind of actually I don't know the exact student count, but it's down a little bit over what it was last year.
Okay.
So I think right now we're good.
We're
Right,
level.
we have we built Bear Creek Elementary. We just opened that last year, which took off of Laurel Oak and Estates Elementary and another one. So we got them into that. So we have about, I think it's 500 and some kids at there. We were at Laurel Oak was 170% over capacity. So we had pupils there. Now we got them out of there. So that's done. Estates Elementary 2 years ago had like 1,100 and some students there. Now that's done. And now we just opened up Ave Maria Elementary, which is capable of, I think, about 900 students. I think we have around 400 now going in there because they still have a lot of development to do.
Yeah, and they are
He's got
developing
the
out there.
numbers in his head.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is impressive.
I just try to remember. Oh, yes. And also, fun fact, the new elementary school we opened in Ave Maria has 2 golf cart lines so parents can drop their kids off with their golf cart since it's golf
Because that's a big
Yeah,
golf cart
community, it
community.
is,
It
yeah.
is a big golf
Yeah.
cart. So that's what my next question. That was a good lead in. It's like, how do you balance the differing parent perspectives on curriculum, school choice, golf carts, and the direction of the district? Because you are mandated certain things you have to do, regardless of what parents may or may not want. Yes, no.
Yes. You have your best standards and you have to teach to pretty much what the state says.
Right.
I mean, the days where you get a book and you open up from the start on page 1 and go to the end is over. They pick out what you need to learn and they think it's the best practices. So we kind of go by that.
And if you don't, you lose the funding.
Exactly.
Oh,
Big
wow.
time. Yeah.
Okay.
They're
Okay.
tough.
Yeah.
So how does a parent, if they want to have a say, what do? They go to the school board meetings?
Come to school board meetings. I mean, I think we're doing a pretty good job, across the district. I mean, we used to have a lot of people when I first got on there, saying what they have to say, and now they really don't. And we moved our school board meetings to the morning because 4:30 in the afternoon made it a lot tough for a lot of parents to get there because 4:30 you're picking your child up after school activities. They get hungry, they want to eat. So I think it's okay. And then, we only have school board meeting once a week.
Yeah.
So.
And then because of the sunshine laws,
once a month, not once a week.
I was like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And because of the sunshine laws, you can only talk to your fellow school board members at the school board meetings.
Correct.
With an agenda and things like that.
Right. Anything we're voting on, anything on the cassette agenda, I just can't call up somebody and say, hey, what's going on with this? What's your viewpoint on that? We can't do that. So we have to, if I have a problem, and usually we get the consent agenda is usually made available to the public a week before the meeting. And then we usually have it 2 weeks. I spend usually a day or so going over it. Then I sit down, have a meeting with the superintendent, go over any questions or concerns. When you first got on the school board, I mean, you're seeing all this stuff and it's like, wow, there's got to be something. And, you learn and you ask a lot of questions. And I know when they get a new school board member, they're probably dreading it because it's like, oh boy, here's a million questions.
We got to educate, but there's an upswing with any new job.
Yeah.
Right. Any new position you take in life.
Yep.
But I get it. It's a few months of figuring it out.
Oh, it's a few years. I mean, they say it takes about 2 to 3 years just to figure out,
the ins and outs, the ups and downs.
I mean, just a few things we've talked about. That's like the tip of this giant iceberg of what it is in a nutshell. So to learn that whole structure of why that decision is there is the curve. I mean, that's, the funding, how do I work around this? Oh, now this year we can't work around that way. And they're forever moving, the goalpost, so to speak. And so
they make changes in the state that you have to implement at the local level.
Exactly.
They're always so fun.
Yeah. And then see, another thing is people, I got on the school board and they're like, okay, we have a problem with this and the teacher or, the problems, you need to fire this teacher. And it's like, I don't do that. The only thing we do is budget, we review the books, and the superintendent puts that together. We look at that, and then we just make sure the policy's implemented and everything's, according to state statute. So it's like the first thing I told the parents, I go, did you talk to the teacher? Well, no. Did you talk to the principal? No. Did you talk to the superintendent? No. And I go, okay, you're going to write me an email. You're going to explain everything. I'm going to give it to the chief of staff and the superintendent, and then they're going to talk to the principal, and they're going to talk to the teacher. I mean, it's just that's the way it goes.
Sometimes you got to go upstream.
Yeah.
Instead of starting at the top. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. You start at the bottom and work your way up. That's it. because if everyone came to me for every single solitary problem,
Well, you wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to do the other parts of your job.
exactly. But that's a superintendent. She does operations. She runs everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of like kicking the can down the road, but hey, she's
Oh,
one there.
there's a when it comes to anything that's as big of an apparatus as schools, there is a process. And plus, I think if I have a problem with a teacher, I'm going to go to the teacher. If you don't get satisfaction, then you go to the principal. If you don't get satisfaction, I mean, there are layers. Sometimes when you skip a layer, you might miss information you didn't know
Exactly.
about, you know.
See,
Um,
that's you and I. There's some parents that just aren't that involved in their kid's life,
I know.
and they
I know.
just try to
You
go.
can't be single parents.
They
I
just
get
try
it.
to go right to the top and make a difference in it.
Yeah. Well,
Get to know your teacher.
we kind of already answered this question because of just the upswing in learning and the position and getting involved in all the different aspects of the position. The next question I had was, why should voters reelect you rather than choose new leadership? And well, that's one reason.
Well, I sit on other committees. I understand what's going on. I take a very active role. I try to be out there. Basically, I'm anywhere. I'll answer any question. I'll talk to anyone if they have any questions with anything.
Right.
I try to get out there and be involved. I like overseeing everything. I mean, I try to go to as many school events as I can, football games. I mean, I was going out to the Immokalee football games. I did my first year. I hit every school. And then
Nice.
afterwards, I said, I'm going to concentrate on Immokalee. It's in my district. And there's not quite as many parents out there. And the first thing that they said is like, hey, we don't have a football ticket booth to get in there. And I'm like, what do you mean? And if you go to all the other ones that have a ticket booth, but
Right.
they had a folding table with two people selling the tickets. And then they had the deputy standing there just make sure nothing would happen.
Right.
So we worked on that, and this is going to be the first year it's going to be open. But that doesn't happen overnight. They took that, and now
Yep.
they have it. So now
Yeah.
just trying to get them everything that they need.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Wow. I didn't know they didn't have that out there.
No,
You
I
just
never
assume
They-
all schools are the same, I guess.
exactly.
They have a nice turf field. And that's
Yeah.
where it kind of, the field house needs some work. But yeah, I coached high school football here for a good many years in Pop Warner and stuff. So I always loved going out to Immokalee and playing.
Well, now they had the problem where part of the track was sitting a little bit low. So you get the rain.
Yeah.
Now you're standing there. They just
Yeah.
redid the track. They
Yep.
lifted it up. So hopefully that issue will be taken care of.
Boom.
I get texts from people. Our next guest is running a little bit late, but that's okay because we have Tim here. We can finish up with him. So you are running opposed, like you have an opponent
Correct.
in the race. He's a big arguer of, you need new blood, you need a different approach. I don't know much about him because I just haven't heard some of these, and it's not him. I have a list of people I just don't know much about. What would you say the clearest difference between the two of you are to help people understand who might be undecided?
I got involved. I never thought I'd run for a political office, let alone school board.
A lot of people say that.
In a million years, I never thought, okay, here we are, politicals. I'm going to start in the school board and work my way up. No, I just left. I was a writer for almost 30 years. I left there. I got tired of the COVID problems with the masks and all that. And said, I'm going to leave. My wife, she brokers equipment. After I'll go work with her, I'll help her out. And then it was left because of the COVID, because you got beat up all the time for not having the mask on. So I went with her. It was like great. And then all of a sudden they go, hey, we need people to go to school board meetings because all the kids have masks on. I know my grandchildren had masks on, and the younger one, who's now 10, had a little bit of trouble with, development, because when they learn to talk, they look at your mouth and move that. Without masks, they didn't do it. So he's finally back up to speed after 5 years.
Wow.
So he's doing great. He's doing the reading. He's doing everything else. So I went to my first school board meeting, and they all sat there. They all had their computer screens up, and you couldn't even see their faces, and they all had masks on. Then someone walked up to make a comment and put your mask on, and they get up and they walk out. And I'm like, I just think this is a one-time thing. And then I decided to go back. And then finally, June, I decided, if I have a problem, I can't really say anything unless I'm willing to step up and do that. I didn't know what I was doing. I went to the supervisor of election, found out how to sign up, signed up. They told me what I could and couldn't do. And it's like, okay. I just went out there and started talking to people.
Oh, wow.
And then I went to every event I could, and just, went to every school board meeting, made a few comments, because I was not the type of person to get out there and talk to people, talk to strangers, and I just kind of went to luncheons, every place I could go. I just go and talk to people and, ask for their vote and ask how they were doing and ask if they had any questions and what they think was wrong. And I got elected. So when I got in, there were 2 people running against that were already in this trying to run, and then I was the third. And then I was told, and the incumbent Roy Terry wasn't going to run, and then all of a sudden,
Oh, I remember Roy. Yeah.
yeah, he signed up. Roy's a great guy. I just saw him. They named the football field out Palmetto Ridge after him last fall. So that was kind of nice. So we had a big ceremony for that. I mean, he did a great job. He was here for a very long time. And, I just, you can't really complain unless you're willing to step up. My wife said, step up or shut up. So it's like,
Yeah.
I just stepped up.
Yeah. That's it.
Well,
So,
she's vocal in
yes.
her
Yes.
beliefs for sure.
And especially if you're running, you got to get out there, shake hands, talk to people. I mean, I talked to the gentleman running against me. I had a friend of mine that lives out in Immokalee, call him up. We did a 3-way, and everything he said he wanted to do. I said, we've already accomplished all that. No one saw him or heard from him. And then all of a sudden, the day I had to go for a school board conference in Tampa. So I signed up a week before the qualification week. And I said, he has an appointment. He'll be in Monday to sign up. And it's like, okay. And then he went to 2 events, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then he's out there saying he's knocking on people's signs. And then,
Yeah.
it's like if you're going to get into politics, you have to follow the rules, especially with schools.
Mm.
I mean, just simple things. You have to need, like I had signs made, put out. I have my larger 4-foot by 4-foot signs done. You have to have sign permits.
Oh, yeah.
Ask permission. You can't put the stuff on the right of way. I mean, if you can't just follow the basic rules, I mean, you have over 50,000 kids that you're working with. How can you, if you can't follow the rules, how they expect them to follow the rules?
Right.
So I have sign permits. Every sign I have permission to put it there, and then all of a sudden
I've heard so much drama about the sign situation. People putting signs in people's businesses that don't have permission,
correct.
Yeah.
and that's a no-no.
Right.
It is a no-no.
You don't want me walking on your property and sticking something on there, just like I don't want, and vice versa. And then the right of way, you can't put it on the right of way. And then we're one of the only counties in the state that you have to have sign permits on.
Right.
And I think there's only 2 or 3 people that actually have the sign permits taken. It's not that hard to do. You just go over there, you fill out the paperwork.
They just want to know. They don't want, and they know if you left it up, who to call to come get your sign.
Exactly.
Because you do have to take them down when the election cycle's over.
100%.
Right.
I was last Friday. I did something in downtown Naples, and they dropped me back off at in front of Naples City Hall. And the Naples pickup truck pulled up from the city council, and they were the sign people. And they had 2 stacks, probably about this deep, with all the signs. You could see them up there. And I walked up to the gentleman working there, and it's like, I introduced myself, and I'm like, he goes, "Yeah, I know who you are." And I go, "You have any of my signs?" He goes, "I don't think so."
Nice.
And he went through there. And I said,
Nice.
"Yeah, I told my people, don't put the signs here. Don't
Yeah.
put them there." And then you go someplace and you'll see 50 of the same signs for somebody.
Yeah. That's counterproductive anyway.
Yeah,
Where at what point does one name stick out?
exactly.
You just see a bunch of litter in front of you.
Well, and that's why they have the sign
Yeah.
ordinance. Now, one last question is, how many school districts are there?
67.
67 school districts. Wow. And how many people on our school board?
We have 5 on our school board.
Okay.
We have 5 districts in this county, and each district has their own school board, but we're at large, so the entire county votes for us. So a lot of people are
That's
saying,
what I was getting
a
to.
lot of people are saying, "Oh, you're 5. I don't live there." I go, "But I'm on your ballot. I would like to earn your vote. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me." And then I had a lot of people said, "I just got my Sanford ballot. You were right. I can vote for you."
Beautiful. So much misinformation, or people just don't know.
They just
So what you're doing today is awesome, man. And I'll tell you this: hearing the way that you decided to run and how you created your push to get elected, if that's not a tutorial on how to get elected into an office, I don't know what is. Go out, be out in the community, be engaging, talk to people,
involved.
do what you do, and it'll get you where you want to go. Because that's what matters. It matters.
Well, that's what people want.
remember that
They want to be engaged
versus a
with.
sign. They do.
Like-
They want to be engaged with.
Like when I was running, it was unlimited terms for school board. I mean, it could just keep going. And then when I ran, they said, "We're going to cap it at 12 years. I'm going, okay, 12 years is good. That's a fair amount of time. And then all of a sudden they rolled it back last year to 8 years, two terms. And like the scary part of it is Jerry has finished his term. He's not going to run for election again. Jeff Donaldson, didn't have a challenger. He's going to run. Kelly and I are going to be there. And I've talked to, from my understanding, Stephanie and Eric that are on the school board, they're going to run again. And when Kelly and I term out, then Stephanie and Eric are going to be there, and then they're going to term out, and then you're
You
going
have
to
a
have a
lot of
person.
rollover.
You're going to have a lot of rollover, and that makes it difficult for the entire state because people that go to the conferences, help out with everything in Tallahassee with education,
Right.
they're going to be terming out. I mean, we've had some people on there for 16, 20 plus years, which are great because you have all that institutional knowledge of how things were done, what worked, what didn't work, and now it's going to cause a lot of problems.
Right.
So at least if you could go to 12 years, that would be, I think, a perfect time, because
I
then
think
you're there
that's
from
enough.
a kid gets
You-
from kindergarten into 12th grade.
That's a good
Man,
example.
that's a
good
great
example.
analogy. For sure is.
So what we're going to do now is, do you have any last thing you want to share with us that the voters should remember before they go to the polls about you?
No, just get out there and vote. I mean, I care about the community. I mean, what's the most prized possession you ever have? Your children.
Mm.
I mean, you want them to get educated, you want them taken care of, you want them to be safe, and you just want them to learn.
Yeah.
I mean, whether they play sports, I mean, I tell parents, they grow up fast. I mean, I can't believe I'm a grandfather already.
Ditto, man.
It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
look at your daughter. And it's like, man, where'd the time go? Now the one's 10, 9, 10, and 12. And it's just like they're getting out there. It's like, oh my God, he's going to be graduating in 6 years from high school. Boy, it really makes me old.
I feel that in my bones, by the way, but yeah.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
well,
get out there and then just do the events and then just start, I mean, we do music, we do bands, we do a lot of stuff with the arts. We lost some funding for that. I'm trying to push to get that back in.
Okay.
And it's just, get out there and see the kids. I mean,
get out there and do the kids, and get out there and vote.
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you for everything you guys are
doing. Like I said, we literally put this together yesterday.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it, and I appreciate you coming out and taking the time.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you for everything. And look like Nacho's getting bored.
Yeah, he's like, Dad, I'm
Just
ready.
smell it out.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming.
Right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man.
If you have any
Absolutely.
questions, feel free. You got my number.
There we go.
One thing I like about everybody that I've talked to that's running is very accessible.
Yeah.
Very accessible.
Yep.
Now, I have a question really quick. Okay. That was my question. So we are on a tight schedule here. So, and we are just going to roll right into the next one.
Right along.
Okay.
Rolling
So
right along.
we're going to go into Mike Colombo. There we go. So Mike Colombo is, some info for us. Thank you. He is a current Lee County, you're an attorney in the state of Florida. He's running for Lee County Judge Group 5, which is a nonpartisan judicial. Yeah, that chair gets a little wonky. Just do the best you can.
It's our gag chair.
Yeah, it keeps the guests on there. Wow, that is a little wonky today, isn't it? It's fun. We call it our fun chair.
I'm going to get close to you.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. He has a long courtroom resume, former prosecutor, criminal defense, and trial attorney, plus law enforcement background. Now, for a judicial race, we don't, it's a little different than what we can talk about with other candidates.
Right.
But there are things we can talk about. And so that's what we're here to do, to try to educate the voters. You're going to go wide.
No, yeah, I'll once you get all set up, we can move it out.
There we
go.
go.
Wide.
You see, we got it.
Alright,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
No,
better.
we.
Like almost on top.
I was just
Yeah,
waiting
no,
until you got through with
yeah.
the things there.
Yeah. So yeah, we can go wide.
Grab
We
the
learned-
headphones for me.
We learned
There you
all of
go.
this today thanks to Diana. She came in and she trained us in production in like 30 minutes.
Yeah, shout out to
So
Dave.
shout out to Diana for coming in on her one day she gets off to do her errands. So Mike, it's so great to meet you. And Mike was just in court. That's why he's like, I'm coming.
I'm coming. Yeah.
I'm coming. And I'm like, we got you.
Thank you.
So
Perfect.
thank you so much for taking the time, running from court to
Yeah.
be here.
Literally. Yeah.
Literally. He's like, I could see you sprinting all across the parking lot, running into your car. Wow, what made you decide to run for judge?
Well, experience, after you've done it for a long time, there's only, there's a couple things you could do. You could teach it. All right. Which I've done. I've done some continuing legal education in that, or you could try to become a judge. You know, I mean, I love the profession. The one thing that I would miss becoming a judge is the advocacy portion, because as a judge, you're down the middle. All right. Nobody gets any special treatment. No one gets any favoritism. So the advocate side of it is, you know, hey, that's stuff I like because I've been doing that for a long time. But at the end of the day, once you know the rules and you know the law as well as I do, and I've done over 100 jury trials, and I've done them on both sides. So I was a special victims prosecutor for years. So I worked for the Department of Homeland Security. I was a special agent with ICE. I've been a defense attorney for a long time. I represented J6ers, our firm did. So we've seen everything. Okay. And I've seen everything. So when you get to that point in your stage of your career, you're like, okay, all right, I want something more.
Yeah.
And the public service came from my parents. I mean,
okay.
my dad was in the Air Force. My mom was a seamstress, and all she did was help people with their wedding dresses. That's it. That was her number one thing. She was a professional seamstress, and she, fun fact, you'll like this. She actually, the New York Times interviewed her because she did Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis's second wedding dress.
Oh, wow.
Going back a few years.
Oh, just a little. Little.
So my mom worked for Jeffrey Bean, as a famous fashion designer in New
Wow.
York. And so she raised us, and, you know, we have that sense of public service. So after 9/11 happened, I saw it, my wife and I drove there, and it was devastating. And then I decided to become a federal agent at that point. I was already a lawyer, and I said, look, we got to do something. There's something, you know, everybody has a role to play.
What a jump from a lawyer to a federal agent.
It was a jump.
Yeah.
And it took its toll on my body. So that's why now I went back to being a lawyer, because I have 2 fake hips as a result of my service.
Wow.
So it was a lot of work. And, you know, I was in my mid-30s when I did it. I wasn't a spring chicken, so to speak, with some of the kids in the academy. But since I was a college wrestler and I went to the Olympic trials in 1996 in wrestling, I was able to do very, very well.
Yeah.
You know,
wait, I can see that wrestler.
You wrestled that chair really good.
For sure. For sure.
You got to get a new chair. There's one of them. We never know which one we're going to be in. And sometimes it's there. Sometimes I have it. Sometimes Lois has it. And we're just kind of surfing.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to the fun stuff.
Hey, before you get into the fun stuff, I just wanted to bring you something. This is my wife's idea. She said you were looking for school bags.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't have any other ones, but she said, you know, it's August race, so let's get back to school bags with your name on it to vote. So I wanted to bring one.
You know, this is great.
It is,
because she's in education. My wife has been involved in education for a long time. I was a high school wrestling coach, high school substitute teacher for a long time. So I believe wholeheartedly
I have an after school program that all of our leftover supplies, which wasn't a lot, but you know, they always need stuff in the closet for the back to school program. And some kids don't have bags.
Well,
so
if they could use it, whatever I have left over,
sure.
I will bring down.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Because yeah, we put them in the
Absolutely.
after school programs.
Yeah.
I had like a couple boxes of pencils, a bunch of highlighters, you know, all that kind of stuff. So yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thanks to your wife.
Thank you.
So jumping into the questions, what qualities do you believe are the most important in a county court judge?
Fairness is number one. You have to be able to look at a case and never judge its book by its cover, ever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you have to be able to rule without fear or favor. Okay. And that's a very important thing. And you know, without that, our whole system could erode. So I think fairness is number one. Obviously, impartiality goes side by side, but then integrity. When people aren't looking, okay, you have that integrity. That is exactly what being a judge is all about, is being able to judge something fairly, but also when you're back in your chambers, all right, and you're deciding on how to rule on a case, and you're taking a look at the law, and you're looking at the plain meaning of the law and the Constitution, you have to be able to say to yourself, hey, I'm back here all by myself. The litigants have already made their argument. I have to be able to look at this fairly, based upon the arguments that were raised, based upon the facts, and based upon the evidence, okay, and apply it to the law fairly. So you have to have all those factors. And the last one I think is even more important to that is wisdom and experience. If you don't have the wisdom and experience, how could you do it? I mean,
Yeah.
I look at it that way. I
You
mean,
can't.
you know, like when my, for example, we have 3 kids, and when you're giving birth to, you know, I don't want to throw my wife out there, but I'm gonna a little bit. You know, the first thing you say is, "Hey, have you done this before?" You know, have you given birth? She had a C-section. Have you done this before?
Yeah.
You know, like, do you know what you're doing? Kind of.
Mhm.
And I think you have to, and that goes for everything we do in life. You know, and for courtroom, the biggest day of your life, you know, the average citizen is going to court. That is a big day for most people because they don't do it normally.
Sure.
I'm there all the time.
Right.
I know what goes on. I know how it works. I know the rules. But for your average person, they don't. Who do you want sitting as your judge? Somebody who's done this for a long time, has had experience on both sides. And I think I'm the only candidate that I could say for all the judge races that have had experiences on both sides, prosecution and defense, both sides of the courtroom, trials, jury trials on the both sides. So who do you want? Do you want someone with, I have over 100 jury trials.
Mhm.
So I know the rules. I know how it's supposed to happen. And I know what the rules say. So I think that's important. You have to have that experience as well to follow it.
Well, I think the things that you just mentioned give credibility and give comfort to people outside of that system, right? That, hey, everything I hear about this is fair, it's honest, it's just, it's ruled by the law, it's all that stuff. Question for you, real quick. Offer her
No, go
question.
ahead.
Sorry.
Oh,
So you have both sides of the courtroom, so to speak, right? The balancing scales, so to speak. So if you have someone that comes in, a hypothetical question, and you feel like maybe they just weren't represented well enough, and can you only look at that from what was given to the court and look at it, or can you extrapolate off your experience and say, how does that factor into it, the experience part, where I feel like this guy or this lady was just not given the proper kind of, the attorney just missed some things here. How do I interject my thoughts into that? Is that something that a judge would do? Is it something that you don't do? Is it something you just take for face value?
that's a great question. Judges, obviously they have to be impartial, right? So
Right.
we listen to everything. And I think being detail oriented is being able to listen to everything and listen to all the facts and read all the facts. A lot of times you submit briefs, right? And you're able to read it that way, but then you also hear the evidence. To me, what matters the most is the facts, not the presentation. Everybody's going to have a different presentation. There's
Right.
lawyers out there that do phenomenal things. There's lawyers out there that don't do phenomenal things.
Right.
We all have seen it before,
Right.
for their client. But as a judge, all you're focused on is not necessarily the presentation so much. You're focusing on the facts. Okay. The presentation obviously helps aid you understanding the facts, but you have to take the time to sit there and look at the facts, no matter where they go, how they go, wherever they fall.
Very well said. Yeah.
Well, that
Yeah.
leads into my next question. So great job.
Sorry.
No, actually, I was like, oh, that's good. That'll lead right into our next question because this goes into balance. How should a judge balance efficiency in a busy courtroom with making sure every person feels heard
That's a great question.
and receives their due process?
Yeah, I mean, the due process is it. I mean,
Right.
we have to, those constitutional values that we have. Look, I've been a defender of the Constitution for over 25 years. And without that piece of paper, we are all lost. Okay. Our forefathers died for that for a reason. In order to give everybody due process and their day in court, what you have to do is sometimes you might have to open up more time blocks on your calendar. And for example, and I said this actually on Jason Jones this morning when I spoke to him, you could sit in chambers to decide on things, right? And there's blocks of times that you have for that. My philosophy is open up as much court time as needed, during courtroom hours. Obviously, I'm not going to, I'm not going to sit there and say, hey, Tallahassee, we need to open this up till 10 p.m.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's not,
Yeah.
we don't do that. We have to follow the guidelines but I'll give you a good example. I was doing a federal trial in Tallahassee and the judge wanted to get this, he said, I need to get this done and we need to do this. And he spoke to the court staff and he's the jurors as well. And we agreed to come in on a Saturday to get a lot of work in because we were delayed. Those kind of things. I'm not saying that's going to happen here,
Right.
but what I would do to make sure that due process is taken care of and everybody's heard is I'm going to make sure we have enough court time on my calendar to hear everybody. And that's most important to me because 5 minutes might not be enough. for
Yeah.
something. It might take 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So everybody's got to get their right. Everybody has to be able to speak. And so the way I would handle it is just open up as much court time as needed to get everybody heard. And I could do my orders, or, you could do your paperwork. You could do that separately. I'm not one of those guys that punches a clock. I've never been that
Yeah.
person ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I ask my wife what time I come home, and my kids sometimes.
So
I've heard that from attorneys, from judges.
Yeah.
because the phone you're never off. Do you find where you have trouble turning it off sometimes, or are you able to and be in another moment?
That's a good question, because sometimes it is tough. You're it's, to me, it's God, family, country, all that stuff comes first, right? So you have to prioritize, and you look at it and you go, okay, I need to take this later. All right. Or I need to take this now. It's an emergent situation. So I think priority is the key. Good balance.
That's your experience coming in right there, knowing what to do, when to do it, and how to do it.
Thank you. And I think that's what carries the day for me, is that I have that experience.
Right.
I could run a courtroom much faster than a lot of people, because I've been in that. I live there. I'm there all the time. I miss it when I'm not there. Ask my wife. She's like, where were you? Court. Court.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Sorry, I got a candidate texting when they're coming.
Oh,
yeah, I'm like triple duty.
Yeah, we're doing double and triple.
Yeah,
they're all wearing.
This literally was yesterday, starting off as just, I'm going to do some lives on Facebook, and we turned it into a whole production, which is okay, because I'm really happy we were able to get everyone in as quickly as we can, because I know how busy everybody's time is. Last couple of questions. Are you running? Is there somebody running against you?
Yeah.
Okay. So anybody in Lee County can vote for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Just like the school board?
Anybody could vote. It's a nonpartisan race, so it's open to everybody. Everybody's allowed to vote. And I encourage everybody to get out and vote. And I say this all the time when I do jury trials. I mean, that is your right, your constitutional right. Without the jurors, we can't have trials.
Right.
And without people voting,
right,
we can't pick elected officials.
Right.
So we need everybody to do that. That's very important. Whatever you decide to do, that's your choice. But we need everybody to do that. And that's your civic duty. And I say that in every single jury trial that I've had, and jurors get it. I mean, sometimes, hey, I don't want to be there and miss a day of work. I understand that. I mean, it's even less than that. We're talking about 15, 20 minutes going to the poll and voting, but your voice is important. Everybody's voice is important.
It is. And as we touched on earlier, voting locally is super important. That's where the rubber hits the road, right? As I said earlier, that's where you make the difference.
It is. And I think the most important thing for the local candidates is really look at their backgrounds.
Yeah.
Whoever you're deciding on, look at your background yourself, and look at the background and go, is this what I want in office? Is this the type of background I want in office?
100%.
Okay. We have to jump to our next guest. So thank you so much. I'm glad we got to get you on. It was very good to meet you. I don't live in Lee, but I support you. I like what you had to say. This was great.
Thank you very much. It was awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm honored. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.
So we are going to move on. Like, we're on speed dating here.
We are speed dating.
So Dan, you have to be somewhere soon, right? Do you have time? Because I can take a call if you can wait a few minutes. Can you wait a few minutes? Like 10? Okay. If you can wait 10 minutes, I just want to get Terry on.
Okay.
Pardon me?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
We're not going to hold you that long, Dan.
No, I won't hold you that long. Okay, so I'm going to take, let me see.
So you're putting me to the test early.
I'm going to put you to the test. Call now. Sure. I may have to call her and tell her.
So we're not having technical difficulties. We're just
rearranging the schedule a little bit because we had Okay, you're going to come on? Okay, yeah, use the e-com. I'm going to hang up. I'd rather get you on now than cut you off later. Okay. Okay, so she's going to call in.
Okay.
This is our first time for us doing this without Diana, so.
Yeah.
And Dan said he has a few extra minutes so he can wait, so that's great.
Yeah, I was just out cutting the grass and they pulled me in here. I don't know what.
I was like, hey, I didn't tell you this was happening yesterday, but come on in. So she's going to come on. So I can do her intro while you're waiting for her to ring through. Yep.
Okay.
Answer that. Yeah, you got it. It looks like an iPad, but it's not. And then use the e-com button, and hopefully she will turn up. Hold on, I got to get my. There's a list there. Let's see. You need to go to the pencil in the middle. Right here, pencil will turn up.
On this side or that side?
The pencil's right there at the bottom.
Okay.
And then you're going to go to video source. And then you're going to find her name. Right there, Terry.
Okay.
There she is. Thank you, Terry.
Hi.
Terry.
We got to do this. How are you?
Thank you so much for letting me be on the show. Is this an okay angle? I'm in the car, so I know it's a little crazy.
No, this is fine. This is fine. You can back away a little bit. It'd be even better, but it's fine the way it is. Perfect. Perfect.
I can even go sideways. Is that better?
No, that's perfect. Just right there. No, don't go sideways. Then you look sideways. So as everybody knows, we're working on technology here without Diana. So I appreciate it. So this is Terry Hasseldorf. Did I say that right? Hasdorf. Okay. She's U.S. running for U.S. Florida District 22 in the Republican primary. She has Capitol Hill experience and served in the Bush administration's faith-based initiative office, runs a government relations and consulting business, and says that she can hit the ground running. Her platform is on border security, tax cuts, hurricane preparedness, property insurance, and government accountability. Did I get that right?
You
Great.
did.
Okay, so we're going to jump right into the questions because I know you have to be somewhere, and we have our other guest here. So, you say you have experience working in Washington. How will that experience benefit District 22, which is my district, compared with a candidate coming entirely from outside government?
Absolutely. Well, I am the only candidate in this race who has ever served as a congressional staffer. And so what that means is I understand the legislative process. I understand how to take a bill from start to finish and put it into law. I understand the appropriations process. I understand all the different committees and know personally a lot of different members of Congress and some of the committee chairs. And, I'm not going to be wandering around looking for where the bathrooms are. I don't need on-the-job training. I can be day one ready. And even more importantly, I understand constituent services and what a really good, solid district representation looks like and what it does not. And so making sure that this district has what it needs to really be served well is something that I plan to do when I'm elected. And having the right team in place who can handle any kind of issues that come up, whether it's seniors who need help with, retirees who need help with things, or something more complex. Those are the things that make sure that a member of Congress is serving the district well, should have a place, and that's what I plan to do.
Well, I will say, from that point of view, like we were talking to Tim earlier, there's an uptake when you first come into a building, an office, a job. And that's what one of your benefits are, I guess, is what you're saying. Okay.
The learning curve is shorter.
Learning curve is shorter. There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you for helping me find my words.
It's all good.
It's going to be a 3-hour day, so I might lose a few along the way. So thanks.
Of course.
What specific federal see, it's already starting. Which specific federal priorities would you pursue first on behalf of our district if elected?
Well, first and foremost, government reform. I know affordability is an issue that a lot of people are focused on. My first job on Capitol Hill was working under Speaker Newt Gingrich as a office. We had a newly created office that he had formed, the Chief Administrative Office, and my boss and I were brought in to bring business-minded reforms to the operations of the U.S. House of Representatives. So the very first thing that we did was we conducted an independent audit. We looked for ways to cut waste, fraud, and abuse. We outsourced unnecessary functions, and we were able to put reforms in place that have saved the taxpayers over $5.5 billion to date. So I was draining doing style activities before those things were cool. And
take
Yeah.
number 5 and
more
number 5
of
turn it down. Just a little.
I
We are having some technical
you know,
difficulties.
Yeah.
There,
government
we're almost have you back. Hold on a second. You're cutting out. Sometimes it's where they are.
If you're in a bad area where you're glitching a little bit on us, Terry,
Yeah.
sorry about that. I think we've lost her.
Yeah, have her hang up and call back. Can we? Terry, we're going to have you hang up and call back real quick so we can get at least 2 more questions in with you.
Sorry, Terry, if you can hear this, call us back real quick.
Terry,
Yeah.
call us back.
Yep.
I know she has a 12 to 2 meet and greet. So let's see if she can call us back. It's kind of hard when they're on their cell phones, I know. You're going to just switch over to hosts or wide. Let's see. I think she just texted me.
Hold on, she's
calling back in. Okay. Let's see if we can just get 2 more questions in with her. Because I hadn't been able to interview her before. Let's see if we can get her live. And then after Terry, we'll bring up Dan. No, you're right. You just got to go to the pencil. Just put the mouse in the middle. Oh, she's not on there. That's why. Did you connect her?
Yeah.
All right, put my glasses back on, everyone. When it works great, it works great.
So.
No, it's supposed to just, oh, there it is. The pencil moved. The pencil moved.
That's us.
That's us. Okay, we don't want to move that one.
No. Bear with us.
You
Terry.
just got rid of us.
Oh boy.
Here. Oh no. Where did our camera go? We lost our camera. I think we're still live.
We are.
Don't press any more buttons. There we go. Thank you. Now she's still down there though.
Yeah. So
now let's go here. Nope. We got to fix that. I'm really sure not sure what to do. You may have to make a call.
Yeah.
Terry, we're gonna see if maybe we can
sign.
Nope.
No.
Terry, call us one more time. Just call us one more time. It might pop up. It might repopulate itself.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
I think it's her connection.
I think it's her connection. It's just not very strong. We'll give her one more chance to call in and see if we can get her on a call.
Because everything else is working.
Yeah. I don't know where the pencil, but when we hit this, we lose you. See, we lose the screen. So we lost the screen somewhere. We definitely have to fix that because the rest of our calls are going to be this.
Okay.
So hopefully when she calls in, we can get that back. The pencil.
Yeah.
Because you wiped out something on the other side.
I don't know.
You may have to get on. Yeah. Oh, that's good that the pencil's back.
It is.
And we were supposed to be camera B, weren't we? Well, don't touch it. We'll just ask Diana. Here, answer the call and see what happens. I'll let you deal with that while we talk to Dan. Click on our faces. Oh, we can't get you. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happening. We are having technical difficulties on our side.
Yeah.
So let's, Terry, we're going to have to get a tech person on the phone. I am so sorry. We were just rolling along just fine.
Sorry,
I do
Terry.
apologize, Terry. We're going to have to move back into the office. I will reach out and maybe when you're done with your lunch, we can get you on. Because I want to make sure we can get her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need
Sorry.
to get her. Sorry, Terry.
So what I'm going to do is if you want to go offline for a second and call Diana and tell her when you hit the button, this button went black.
Yeah.
We've lost something here. You know what I can do is,
Ooh, hang on.
oh, you want to go back here? Hey, Terry, we're gonna do something really old fashioned. I'm just gonna hold you up to the microphone while we figure this out. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, let me just get through these next couple of questions. We're gonna go, this is how Lois did it old school. We just we put you up to the microphone. You're gonna share with me. Take us off of here and go here and go, because I need to be able to see myself on screen. I've lost all the
It's
screen.
no, it's the delay.
It's a delay. Okay. There's a delay. We're here still, guys. Just bear with us while we get some technical difficulties sorted out. So I still have Terry here. She's running for Florida District 22. We were talking about her experience in Washington, and also we were moving on with some questions. And one of the next questions that have come up in my conversations with people yesterday was, Florida homeowners continue to struggle with property insurance and affordability. What can Congress realistically do about those issues?
That's a great question. And I know this is definitely something I've heard a lot about as I go across this district. Florida has some of the highest property insurance prices in the nation. And Congress really needs to address this problem, but without creating any kind of government bailout. As I have really dug in and studied this, I would focus on three things first. When I'm elected, I'll look for, first of all, ways to bring more competition into Florida's insurance market. That's first and foremost. Second of all, we really need to look at ways that we can expand things that will help with hurricane mitigation. We could do tax credits, for instance. And that's something that, it should be a no-brainer. If we can do tax credits for home hardening, hurricane shutters, impact windows, stronger roofs, things that will maybe elevating some homes, things that will help on the front end so that you're not paying so much on the back end after a disaster strikes. Congress should also look for ways to expand grants for things that will like improve drainage systems or upgrade seawalls.
That's right.
You hear me okay?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Somebody was just asking me something.
And then strengthening our power grids, looking for ways to harden critical infrastructure. Those are all really important. Every dollar that we spend on mitigation saves multiple dollars in disaster recovery. So those are some of the things that I would look for. And then I would also look for ways to stop any fraud or, abusive practices that happen in the property insurance area as well.
Well, I know for myself, as someone who owns a home, the insurance thing, I think it hasn't been brought up enough. I think there's a lot of talk about the property taxes and things like that right now, but I know it really plays into our seniors too, because when they can't afford their house insurance, it really is difficult. And I also feel like, as a constituent, I feel like it's really been kicked down the road because of the hurricanes. I think it was kicked down the road, and then we got, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it was kicked down the road, and then we got hit with those big, up to 80% they were able to do. And then the next thing we know, we're kind of leveling out right now. So I'm hoping, at least from my standpoint, from my house, I'd like to see it get better.
Yes, absolutely.
So our next question is, how would you balance economic and energy needs with protecting Florida's coast, water, and communities?
Florida has such incredible coast areas, and it's very important to make sure that we have reliable and affordable energy. I am very much in favor of American energy dominance, but making sure that we balance all of that with protecting the beautiful areas that contribute to our fisheries, our tourism economy, making sure that everything that we are doing is focused on energy strategies that are protective of the environment as well. So I'm in favor of like SMRs, renewables, emerging technologies, but environmental uh, responsible stewardship is really, really critical as well.
Okay. All right. So far I'm liking what I'm hearing. You have anything you want to Ad, or no, he's still on tech. We're going to keep him over in the technology thing. We're finally back up on YouTube. Now we just have to try to figure out how to get our calls on, but I'm glad we were able to work it out at least somehow. So in such a crowded Republican primary, why should voters choose you?
As I mentioned earlier, I'm the only candidate in this race who has actual experience working as a congressional staffer, working in Washington. And, that is a really difficult learning curve. I've spent 6 years serving as a staff member in Congress, including in a House Republican leadership office, where I learned not just how government works, how to make it work for the American people. And I know how to write legislation, how to navigate the processes, how to build conservative coalitions. And, I don't need on the job training. I am someone who also is very pro life, pro Second Amendment, America First. And I am a lifelong Republican. I am also someone who has a clean record. I do not have the baggage that unfortunately some of my opponents have. And going into the general, that's going to be really crucial because anything that can and will be used against you by the Democrats could easily wind up making this a vulnerable seat, and we don't need a vulnerable candidate.
Well, I know that everybody comes to the table with some sort of thing, it seems, in this field. What would you say to the voters about, no, I don't want to go there. I'm trying not to be too controversial. I'm trying to be bipartisan and not too controversial. How about you? Did you have anything you wanted to throw into the?
I mean, the district you're running in is there's a lot of variations of cultures and people and things like that. How do you feel like the best way to go about representing the needs of everybody?
It is a complex district. You've got both of the coasts that you cover with this, and then you've also got a huge amount of agricultural farmland. This is, you've got parts of Lake Okeechobee. You've got parts of the Everglades. So water issues are something that will be really first and foremost, making sure our farmers have representation. It's a complex district. And like I said before, it's going to need somebody who doesn't have a learning curve, who can hit the ground running day one and work with Chairman Thompson, who's the chairman of the Agriculture Committee, or any of the House Appropriations committees that touch on water, the Transportation Subcommittee that touches on water, the Army Corps of Engineers, several of the federal agencies and House that will touch on the needs that are the most prevalent for this district. That's what I look forward to doing when I'm elected.
Well, water and insurance are my thing, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, water. Florida, especially the districts we are in down here, we are the last great stewards of the Everglades. The areas that don't need to be, kind of gone over and stuff. And then when we get into Central Florida, the aquifer system is like no other in the world, in my opinion. And so there's a lot to that. But I mean, your territory is so. It's just amazing and so how large it is.
It is. I've been told, I haven't verified this yet, but I've been told that it's larger than the state of Connecticut, this district. And it's the second largest agricultural district east of the Mississippi. So, making sure that I work with Secretary Brooke Rollins and with Chairman Thompson and some of the other folks that are really geared towards those issues, the agricultural issues, as well as things like affordability and, making sure that our veterans, our seniors are taken care of. I'm very honored to have been endorsed by some really great folks like Major General Bob Dees and Frank Bone with Peace for Life and Florida Family Action, Moms for America Action, Stand for Health Freedom. So those are all folks that I look forward to working with when I'm elected as well.
Well, that's a lot. I mean, we've covered a lot for sure.
I mean, getting Florida, the farmers in Florida, the ranchers and the cattlemen, and I mean that's what Florida is. That's the backbone. That's the heartbeat of it.
Jimmy and I have been here a long time.
Yes, I mean my mom's family was in Citrus and Winter Haven area and stuff like that. So, there's the farmers, especially the old ranchers and stuff like that. that is Florida, and it deserves a certain respect, and it deserves a certain person that represents it very well. So you got your you're going to have your hands full.
For sure. For sure. I know you have to go because I know you have a 12. So if anything you want voters to remember about you before they make their decision and go vote tomorrow.
I just would like to remind them that, I'm someone who I think past performance is a really strong indicator of future performance. And I'm someone who spent my life working in conservative policy, working with, needs in communities and making sure that what I say is what I do. And that's what I want to put to work for the hardworking families of the 22nd Congressional. This is a race that is being targeted by the DCCC. It is a very critical time, as you probably are well aware, for our country. If we lose the House of Representatives, if this seat flips Democrat, you could lose the House. And if we lose the House, we're going to spend the next 2 years doing nothing but impeachment votes and losing all momentum with anything the Trump administration is trying to do. So it really is a critical time in the country. It's a critical time for the state of Florida. I really see Florida as ground zero for the conservative movement. This is a free state. It is a state that has incredible resources. You need somebody who's going to be a hard worker and a strong fighter for Florida, for freedom, and for the country, and for President Trump. And that's what I look forward to doing when I'm elected to Congress. So I am asking for your vote tomorrow. I would be so grateful if you not only would vote for me, but tell your friends. And you can go to my website, terryforcongress.com, check it out. And if you have any questions for me, you can always reach out and send an email to info@terryforcongress.com.
Wow. Okay. I was
you,
just going to
Terry.
ask all those, but thank you so
Yeah.
much. I appreciate you and I appreciate you coming on. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but you know what? We made it work. So
Yeah, we
that's
did.
great. Good luck on your lunch today. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Terry.
Bye-bye. Well, sometimes technology happens and we had a little scheduling, thing happen, but here we are. We're semi back on track. We are going to fix that hopefully soon because we need that for the rest of the show.
Yeah, we do.
Except we have our county commissioner, Dan Colwell from District Number 4. He has been patiently waiting for us for him to come on.
Yes, he is.
I appreciate you having that little extra time to hang around. Come on down. We appreciate it.
Down, Dan.
Look at this, Dan. We got so much going on today. We were talking yesterday and we were just going to do a live, and now we're going to do it in the studio.
Nice.
Why?
There
Because
we
we
go.
have it.
Excellent.
We have it. So
Thank you, Dan. For coming.
yeah, thanks for coming, Dan.
My pleasure.
Good to see
So
you.
Dan is the incumbent. He's a retired law enforcement officer, Army, Navy. It's not a game.
Nah,
Not a football game.
Army veteran.
Army veteran, first elected to the Collier County Commission in 2022. He often emphasizes responsible growth, infrastructure, fiscal management, and staying accessible to his constituents. And he is running with an opponent. He's not running unopposed. He has an opponent.
Yep.
So yeah,
welcome, Dan.
Welcome.
Like I said, it's my pleasure to be here today.
And being
here with you
patient.
guys and
being patient.
I'm easy. I can be patient.
Yeah.
Not that hard.
Yeah. In your job, I'm sure that patience comes in handy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to, even in my prior career, you have to be the calm head in the room. So
yeah. Well, I'm going to jump right in.
Especially when you're in amongst chaos.
Yeah. Right.
Well, political season is chaos.
Oh yeah. This season is it's just amazing how many people just take the time out of their day just to be nasty and not just talk about what they can do or can't do.
Right.
That's what it's all about. Just tell people what you can do or what your vision is. If they align with you, they're going to align with you. If they don't, then, they'll look somewhere else. But to be nasty and make things up about people. I've seen so many things this season. It puts a bad taste in people's mouths. So I like to take the high road. If I ain't got nothing good to say about somebody, I don't say anything at all.
Yeah.
So,
right.
That's just.
Well, that's a good rule of thumb.
It is, and I got to say, you're right, Dan. I think this election season, we'll call it, this time that's come around, has been something that I haven't seen in Collier County. I don't know if I would say ever, but it's been unique, and there's a lot of like you said, a lot of people who have opinions and want to, that's what social media, they use it for.
Yeah.
And I would encourage everybody, if they have an opinion, to run for office or join a board or do something productive in the community to address your concern and to do something about it.
I wear this I wear two things on my neck right here. I got one at St. Michael, who's the sacred paint of the military and law enforcement who protects us from evil.
Yep.
And the other one is it's Theodore Roosevelt thing, and it's the man in the arena. It's the actual paragraph.
I love
it. The critic sits on the couch.
Yep.
That spews hatred and criticism, was not willing to get in the arena and have the blood and sweat.
Yeah.
And the fact of actually taking the spears and the arrows and then surviving. Not everybody, sometimes even good men stumble, but it doesn't mean, they can't get back up.
100%.
But the critic is the new critic now. And I think when he wrote that, it was back in the late 20s. Nowadays, it's the keyboard wizard that sits on their couch, and it's the professional that I almost joined the military, but I'm going to tell you how to run your war. I almost ran for office, and I'm going to tell you how to run. It gets old after a while.
It does.
I think it just gets old.
Well, you just have to stay the course at that point and just
block
out the noise.
No, and I'm pretty good at that. I feel bad because the people around me take it personal.
Yeah.
And it don't bother me because I know who I am internally. I know the man I am, and I know the man I've been my whole life. So, it don't bother me. It doesn't phase me.
That's something that, until you said that, I really didn't think about with your wife and Lauren. I mean, she's a strong woman. I'm sure she has her own way of dealing with stuff, but it does affect your family. You know what I mean? And man, I didn't, that's something to think about, actually.
Yeah, because you think about your family or the people who truly know you personally.
Yeah.
And then when people say things, out there on their little keyboards or whatever they're doing, and they're pretending to be, I don't know, Crocodile Dundee or something, walking around like they're some expert on something they don't know anything about.
Right.
They take it personal because they know who I really am, and I don't take it personal. But listen, people say what they want. That's great. We have to protect that. That's the First Amendment right. But there's also a limit. That's why you can't scream fire in a movie theater either.
Right.
Because if that right gets in the way where it affects other people's liberty,
right,
then it's no longer your right.
Exactly.
And I think we have a lot of that going on in the country right now.
Oh, for sure.
But I'm gonna defer back to local for a second, because I know we're short on time. Because we have to figure that out. I'm really I'm stressed about that.
Look at me. We'll figure it out.
I know.
We
don't have tech here today, so we took a crash course and we might have crashed something. But Dan, so I want to ask you, this question was something that I wanted to ask you because I've seen a lot of stuff come online, and I get frustrated as just a Floridian and as a constituent, because I understand both sides of the growth and development problem, not just from real estate, but just paying attention to what state lawmakers do to kind of, excuse my French, screw local counties. So how do you balance continued growth and development while protecting Collier County's quality of life? And my follow-up question to that is, on the state level, how much have they tied our hands?
Well, there's a lot of layers on the state level. I mean, from every aspect to, what we can spend, what money, how we generate the money from what checkbook. I didn't realize this until I got on the job, but the county has let's say you have 5 checkbooks at your home. You have 5 different saving or checking accounts. But this checkbook can only write things that are associated with this because the state statute will only allow you to use it for this or like a new road or something like that. So we have your impact fees or something we collect on a yearly basis. Last year we collected $90 million in impact fees, and that only came from new construction, new development, permitting.
Wow.
So that goes towards anything new, like a new school, a new road, a new sewage treatment plant, a new water treatment plant. Those have to be brand new projects, and that $90 million you can use for that. So there's just different checkbooks, and we have the luxury. We have a tourism industry here, which is actually our biggest industry if you think about it.
Yeah.
So that kind of money has strings attached to it too. I can't just go repave a road that needs repaved and use that checkbook. I have to use it from another funding source.
And we're talking about the bed tax there, right?
The bed tax, yeah. And that's paid by people visiting that rents a room.
Yep. Yep.
And the county don't even collect that. The hotels collect that tax.
Well, I remember back in the day, it was a penny. Remember they voted a penny, and it was to re-nourish the beaches.
Yeah. Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's where it was needed. And that's what, right.
Yeah, and then the state still has the ability to dictate how much you get back too. So, and then they dictate how you can use it. So there's a lot of strings attached to our money, and you learn that on the fly because there's no course you take. You know? I volunteered and took a bunch of different things with the Florida Commissioners Association. I signed up on my own time, went to some courses to understand some of these things, but it's like drinking water out of a fire hose the first few months.
Yeah.
You know, it is. I mean, it's the only way I can explain it.
Yeah.
But back to the basis of that question. You understand our two primary things in Collier County as your local government is your public safety and the infrastructure. We don't build anything. We don't develop homes. We don't build. That's private sector.
Yeah.
All we do is they come to us. Somebody already owns a piece of property. They come to us and they ask us if we can hear their case on if they can rezone it. Now, there's many layers to that. When it comes to us, when we're in that dais on that day and we're going to make that vote, that thing probably went through 8 months to a year process before it even got to our desk.
Sure.
The agenda itself is probably 28 to 3,000 pages just for that one item. And, you know, you hear a lot of noise about, we're going to pave over a panther preserve. That's all bull crap. Bull crap. Panther is on the endangered species list. It is a federal crime to even touch a piece of property the federal panther even walks on.
Right.
It's just some of this stuff is so ridiculous. 30 years ago, the state of Florida went to every county, said, listen, we know we're going to grow. People were excited about Florida. They're going to come to Florida. They're going to start moving here. So they tasked every county to say, you need to now figure out where you can expand, where's your footprint, and will this footprint affect any natural resources or any endangered animals? And that was done over 30 years ago. So a lot of these property owners own these old orange groves and these old pepper farms that are not productive anymore. They want to cash out. They want to change the zoning so they can sell it because nobody wants to buy it as a farm anymore.
Right.
So these are already within that boundary 30 years ago. The state already deemed these are not environmental areas. They're not sensitive. Now, we go into these hearings and they have to go back to the state, to the Florida Fish and Wildlife, make sure it's not any new issues. They restudy it. They get from the federal permitting. Then when it finally comes to our desk, all these things have done before.
There's so much.
And then people just come up to the podium because, once again, the man in the arena, there's some professional on their couch, which really is not a professional. The professionals already looked at it. And they want to just spew for their 3 minutes up there at the podium telling us how this is that, this is this, this is that. We get it, but we don't always, I mean, we had a project we didn't approve that was going to put 36 units right in the neighborhood. And we just felt that was a bad place off Golden Gate Parkway.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was just like, nah, this is just bad.
I got to tell you, everything I see online.
Everything case by case.
Yeah. So, everything I see online is like Dance for Development. And I'm like, well, there's a lot of vetting before things happen. And I know that the state has certain things now that you can't stop people from putting some sort of development in. And you're kind of...
There's what's something called a Bert Harris lawsuit. This was brought up, went through the Florida Supreme Court a few decades ago. And some local governments were just saying, you know, they got people on the board to say, no, 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 no. And it got to the point where the state said, you know, lawsuits were brought and went up through the chain of the court system, got to the Supreme Court, and they said, well, because the guy's name was Bert Harris, that's why it's named after him. So the government cannot deny somebody that owns their own property the right to do something with it. And that's kind of how it is. And now, if you can articulate that, no, this is an issue with, you know, some sort of wetland or something, you know, something like that, you can have an argument, and then you can, you know, use certain things to deny it. Traffic is not one of them.
Right.
They already in the court said that will not allow you to deny it, traffic. And so there's certain layers. Now, I'll just get back to smart development. And I'm very accessible. Every month I do a conversation with the commissioner at one of the libraries in my district.
Nice.
I invite everybody in through my website. I invite people through my my newsletter. And I did one the other day, and I just wanted to, you know, kind of bring some nuts and bolts to the conversation. And I said, I'm going to give you a scenario. I had a whiteboard. I said, Collier County schools. All the schools in Collier County, including the private, the charter, public schools. We got about 60,000 students right now in the schools. 60,000, right? Youngest age 5, oldest 17 to 18, depending on where they fall on their birthday.
Right.
So these projects that these people are talking about, we paved over 2,000 acres of Panthers and all this stuff. These couple projects that were out there that were in the designated zones to get rezoned, they're not even gonna be done for 30 years. The last house won't even be sold for 30 years out.
Yeah.
Think about that. Kindergartner is gonna be 35 years old.
Right.
So we need 60,000 homes for these students to live in our own, where you live and I live.
Yeah.
When you sit there and tell me I'm not thinking about your kids, you're thinking selfish. You're thinking about the time now. You're not thinking about when they're adults, when it's time for them to have an inventory. Because if you don't, guess what? None of our kids are going to be able to afford to live here.
Exactly.
You got to wait for somebody to die and we're all going to bid on the same house.
Yeah.
So we have to think that way. That's the future. That's smart development. You have the infrastructure in place 10, 15 years out ahead of time. You find these places where the next 25, 30 years will build out. And then those kids have the same chance we have. And guess what? They can go to the 1.1 million acres of preserved property in Collier County and visit the Panthers, visit the alligators, take pictures of birds, go to the beaches. Because I love the ones that do that AI stuff. They show pristine beach with waves.
Yeah.
Then the next picture says condos with a road going down.
Yeah.
Show me one beach where we put a road down it and condos on it in Collier County.
Yeah.
Come on,
AI people. I see people fall for some of that because I'm on a few, things on Facebook and people put up a picture and I'm like, this is not real, or this is not Collier County.
Well, think my family. I have 4 generations live right here in Naples. My parents live here. My wife's parents live here. We live here. Our adult kids live here, and our grandchildren live here.
Yeah.
That's 4 generations. If I just take an Indian village 300 years ago, 10 teepees on a 1,000 square foot circle.
Right.
Come back 100 years later. How big is it? How many teepees going to be there?
Yeah.
You're not introducing anybody from the outside.
Right.
You're just expanding what you have.
We just grow.
Right.
Our birth rate's quicker than mortality rate right now.
100%.
So we're always going to be outnumbering what's available or not available.
Yeah.
So I am looking for the future of your children. I am looking out that they can live in paradise like we do.
Yeah.
And they have somewhere to go when the time comes, when it's them to move into a home and have a place to be and those type of things. Because the reality is we have 198,000 buildable acres. We know that. That's the footprint. And we already have to subtract Marco Island, Naples City, Mockley, Everglades City, the Estates, Golden Gate City. They're already sucking up a part of that 198,000.
Right.
So what do we got left?
Yeah.
What do we got left for those 60,000 students right now in school when they become adults and want to start families?
Right.
People don't think that way. They're selfish. They think about now.
Yeah. Well, they want immediate, right? Just people have turned into immediate gratification. We have a problem, get it fixed. Why is it not fixed? And I remember, and I can't, it may have been Reg, but we were talking to someone here and they were talking about the roads that are going to be built are now being planned, aren't going to be built for 20 years.
One of the boards we sit on, all the commissioners, it's the MPO. It's the Metropolitan Planning Organization.
Yeah.
It's mandatory by the federal government to have them. We're District 1, which is all Collier County, I think up to Estero. And then, we have like a 9-member board on there. And all we do once a month is talk about the expansion of roads, infrastructure associated with roads. We plan out 50 years.
Yep.
And every 2 years we have to revisit that plan, depending on what we calculate growth, non-growth, where the areas are expanding. Because that's smart growth. That's what we want, smart growth.
Yeah.
We don't want willy-nilly. And I had a hotel, JW Marriott, was looking across the street at the mini triangle and saw them 2 buildings going up, right? And they bought the 5 acres on the other side of the street. And the Marriott came in, they were like, we're going to build a 130-foot convention center and all this stuff. And I said, no, you're not. They're like, what do you mean? They built that. I says, that's a special zoning zone just for that triangle. That was done because the government owned that property. Nobody wanted to buy it. So they had to create a special zoning to entice people to invest in it so we get it out of the taxpayers' doles.
Yeah.
Because the taxpayers were paying for that property.
And it was there forever. I mean,
it was there forever.
If you haven't been in Naples long, it was there forever.
We had an old Burger King that was a heroin den,
a
rimmed guy that sold cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And an old dealership that was empty.
Yeah.
So, the investors finally said, all right, now we got something we can actually do and make money.
Right.
So they got in and did it. So I met with JW Marriott for a year and a half, met with the community. I said, listen, you guys are zoned for a hotel. I cannot deny that. I'll have a Burt Harris lawsuit against us, and we'll pay tax dollars to defend it, and I have to pay your attorney fees too at the end of the day.
Boy.
I won't do that.
Yeah.
But work with me. You're allowed. Zoning was 75 feet on a C4 property, but the CRA had an overlay on it because that's our new community redevelopment zone,
Right.
which has a 56. So after negotiating, finally the big shot come in and said, listen, we want to build the JW. We think it's important. We're going to build it to exact specs. We're allowed to build it without a zoning change. And we all agreed on it. And we talked about traffic patterns, things like that, and tried to work with the community around it to safeguard them. But they don't see I did that behind the doors for a year and a half.
Yeah.
It didn't happen out in the public.
Yeah.
But that's what you have to do sometimes just for your constituents to make sure that you're protecting them.
Yeah.
So, you know, I tooted my horn a little bit because I just do it because I think I have to do it. But, you know, it is election season. I can say all the good stuff.
But that's what you're here for, Dan. You got to talk about it, man. You got to let them know what you're doing, man. You know, because the people who are on the keyboards and stuff like that, this is beyond their thought pattern. They don't understand what it is that you're doing with it. Let me ask you another question, just kind of off the beaten path here. What do you think about the cars moving from Cars on Fifth to Bayshore? It's amazing to me, the Bayshore thing. It's what a redevelopment.
Yeah, that's part of the CRA. That's in that footprint.
Right, that's what I'm kind of.
And that was the whole idea, is to find, you know, get these older, dilapidated, these blighted properties and pump new life into them.
Right.
You know, my district's funny. We don't have new development. We have redevelopment. There's two different things. There was already a footprint there. So like an old Publix that's empty now, that had probably the highest traffic. You know, you take a grocery store, that has one of the highest traffic counts of any kind of retail you can have. People 100%. Are coming and going every second.
100%.
If you put an apartment building with 500 apartments, guess what? You reduce that traffic to that location by almost 80%. But people don't think that way. Move in, we're getting more traffic. No, in reality, you're gonna have less traffic, because if you had a retail Publix or something like that there, that's 80% more traffic than you'll ever have just for a residential community. But aside, that's the whole idea. And I know Tom O'Riordan. I've known him for a long time because when I was in the sheriff's office, I was on the motorcycle unit. And I was his point of contact when we used to do the escorts for when the Ferraris came in and all that stuff. And it was cool looking. It's like, it's fun time. So when I saw the city, then, you know, they kind of went around with the permit, and there was a lot of different things said and this and that. But the city was like forcing their hand, I think, to the point where they realized they weren't going to agree.
Yeah.
They were like, reduce it to 3,000 people and this and that. And it's like, this thing, over 20 years. It's been a staple on Fifth Avenue. It's the largest private Ferrari club show in the country. Yeah. I mean, you got to remember when that happened, he had like his Factory 5 Racing, all these they plan a year out.
Yeah, they do.
Because they got to fly, you know, all these cars and all this.
And they're exotic cars.
They're exotic stuff. Yeah. So, and I just said, listen, Tom, I got a hold of him. I says, if we can figure out a way to have it in the county around the same date next year, so you don't have these people cancel, you know, we'll figure something out. And I looked at Bayshore and the people there, like, you know, you got Rebecca and the amount of money she put into that place, and, you know, what she's done with her, you know, redevelopment. And, you know, we got a bid out right now on a piece of property down there that the government owns. I know that Naples Opera has teamed up with the Pavarotti organization, the Widow.
Gotcha.
And they are really, really hot on that. I think they put a bid in on that property.
Wow.
We're going to find out here in a few weeks how that turns out. But it would be his opera house and his museum in Naples, Florida.
Wow.
Nowhere else in the world.
That's amazing.
I mean, that's the old Kelly Road Bayshore. I was down there doing jump out work in a beat up van.
Oh, it's crazy.
I know.
It's crazy. I can go back to when Key Wade and I used to work at Key Wade, and when the Bolton Drackett and those guys, I can't remember the names, but the family, they owned it. We used to do a bunch of stuff and everything, and they bought some property where we would have all the produce, all the supplies drop there, and then we would boat it over to But man, it was a crapshoot. You show up and it was, you know, you don't want to be there after dark. You know what I mean?
It was different growing up for sure.
You know, when I helped start our street crimes unit, our set team, and it was like 4 or 5 of us. Then we did one in Golden Gate later once it worked out. But we spent 10 years in that area, just in that general area, that triangle area. people don't realize. I mean, there's still some areas there. Listen, in my district, which is City of Naples, Port Royal, and all that, that's just part of my district.
Right.
We had a world record real estate sale. You would know, what was it, like 230
some million,
some $1 million sale. But then a mile and a half up the road, I can take you to 2 trailer parks that are just blighted and run down.
Yeah.
I mean, and those people are hardworking people,
right?
But they're living in like trailers, got holes in the roof. They got to tar them every rainy season.
That's where we bring the backpacks.
And it's like people don't see that part. That close to record sale of a home in the richest zip code in the country, they don't see that. And then they ask me, well, why do you want to have a part? Well, we need inventory. These people will buy they will rent a nice apartment if they have the ability to. And move out of a trailer that every time a storm comes, they cross their fingers if they're going to survive or not.
Yeah.
And it's right there.
Yeah.
And that brings me to my next question. So what roles should county government play in addressing workforce housing and affordability?
Well, what we've done, we've had a couple pieces of property that were in the inventory, and we did like multi-year lease, like 99-year lease.
Nice.
With McDowell organization, which specializes in building properties that are at a set median income, like from an 80 to 60 percentile.
Qualified housing.
Yeah, so that's like a target. So we don't want to get into the housing market, but we'll be willing to partner up somebody that does know how to do it.
Sure.
And they are really good at it. They've probably got like 4 or 5 properties already. Some already done that are 100% rented out. And they got 2 senior ones, because don't forget about our seniors.
That's right.
I heard you guys talking earlier about the insurance. These condos that these people, their husband and wife 30 years ago came here on a fixed income. And, they paid their condo off, but guess what? Their insurance is as high as their mortgages are right now. And they're on fixed incomes. And you lose one spouse, guess what?
Right.
We're filling those senior centers up, them senior homes with those type of people, that either lost a spouse, they can't afford even the insurance anymore. So they get into these, they have 2 of them off of a Radio Road right now not Radio, Rattlesnake on the other side of Collier. They're built out there, Ecos. But those are all based on senior 55 and up. And so and then we got the golf course. That was part of that big project, the Golden Gate Golf Course.
Yep.
That was one of the deals with that penny tax was going to help build some workforce.
Housing.
People don't realize you need the workforce in order to sustain things like restaurants and the tourism industry that we do have. And
like I said, there's people in these areas that are renting regardless. They already here, they work here. They just, they can get an upgrade. And then that'll help, whoever has that property to the point where, guess what, they're not renting these trailers out or anything anymore. And then maybe they'll reinvest in it and do something better, and that's the whole idea of redevelopment, having that overlay.
Right.
So there's a lot of moving parts. I wish, I had more time, but we can really get into, there's just a lot. There's a ton, and it's inventory. It all comes down to inventory. To make affordability, you have to have inventory.
Yeah,
that's just I'm a Milton Friedman junkie. I watched all his videos. And, it's not brain surgery.
Yeah,
when the
common sense,
the rent, the prices will come down when the person that owns those properties, you don't want to have them because it's costing you tax dollars to keep them, the electric, the upkeep, the maintenance.
Yeah.
You want them full.
Yeah.
You want to sell them. You want to sell the homes. You don't want just sitting on the inventory. So until you have an inventory, the prices won't come down. So we're seeing a little bit. I think the market right now is just a little sketchy because things are going on, out of our control with the war and stuff like that. But
I feel like in real estate, it's a stalemate.
But Florida, I'll just tell you right now, this is budget time for us. So we've already had breakout meetings. We got the certified tax collectors in the assessed value property report. So right now, existing properties went up $5.8 billion in value in Collier County.
What?
New properties entered into the system from last year to this year was another 8. Like, I think the total was about $8 billion.
Man.
So think about that. We can do nothing, and the taxable value goes up every year in Collier County.
Yeah.
So that gives us that shows you that the prices aren't going down; they're going up.
Right.
So
it's such a fine line between how those taxes that and assessments and all that stuff is allocated that, man, I mean, I don't know how you wrap your brain around a lot of that stuff that goes with it. But as we develop and as we have that overlay, what is the county projecting for population growth as we get into this, and where do you see that? Because that comes with more fire department services, those types
Yeah.
of things, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's what infrastructure, that's what the impact fees are supposed to help with. So
Right.
if new construction comes in, that'll help with building new fire stations, new police stations, new schools. So there's layers in that impact fee collected. And like I said, we collected 90 million last year just in impact fees. So yeah, we do. That's another thing. Every 2 years we project too, we
Yep.
looking out and see where we think trending. A lot of people don't realize, I think 2016 was the biggest bump we had in the last couple decades here in Collier
Wow.
County. We're not, during COVID, it got close, but didn't reach that point. Sad part, I guess, see what happened to the rest of the country, man. Look what's going on in New York, and pretty soon Milwaukee and Minnesota, and
It's going to be interesting.
it's going to be really interesting. I mean, well,
But
Dom, he might be the best he might get the 2026 Real Estate of the Year award. So,
Man,
Wait,
Florida.
De Blasio was
Oh,
a good one.
God.
Now it's got this one.
We do have to prepare for that. I mean,
We have to be prepared. And Florida, people forget Florida's still such a young state compared to other ones,
well, Collier
that
County,
we have land.
Collier
So people
County is
don't
only
know.
100 years old.
Yeah, we're one of
Think
the
about it.
newest
We're
countries
celebrating
in
our
the States.
250-year birthday
yeah,
in this, and that's a birthday from when we became a country.
right.
There was 100
Oh,
years
right.
before that, people were growing the cities in the
Right.
Northeast and that. Collier County, 100 years was just a year ago, 2 years ago. We hit
Yeah.
that mile marker. We're the youngest. We're like, the last frontier in Florida,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Well, a lot of that was, it was a tough land.
Yeah.
Tough
Yeah.
land, brother. They had to get here by boat. I mean, you just couldn't.
Yeah. Well, when all those people invested in the city of Naples back in the days, the Port Royals and that, they had a ferry boat. And that's the pier was there since 1897 or something like
Right.
that. That was the only way to get
Only
into
way.
Naples.
Yep.
You took a ferry boat from like Tampa.
Yep.
They brought them in. They said, "Hey, look at this new place we want to develop."
Yeah.
People got to understand, Collier County was only purchased to develop.
Yeah.
That was the whole mindset. Was when the Colliers and the Spalding. I can't remember the name. It was Spalding.
Well, the guys that built Cape Coral, the
Yeah.
largest waterway structured city in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
But probably about 10, 15 years ago, the Fed stepped in. Remember the soft blocks?
Yep.
That was everybody's going to go to the south. Well, that's never going to happen
Yeah.
again. So that all got blocked off, and that's going to be all part of the natural sea grass again for the flowway.
Right.
So a lot of people, there's a lot going on out there. And I heard you
Yeah.
guys talking to some of this federal people running for federal office, and
Yeah.
that project's on the way, and that's going to help with support the quality of water. But on a local level, we're really working real hard with Golden Gate City. We took over that old treatment plant
Man.
that was there for years. The county's going to redevelop it. We're about $30-some million short. I went to the EPA last year in Washington, D.C., trying to get some funding. A couple other people in D.C. we're trying to get some funding for, because we know to get that thing up and running. People don't realize there's 9,000 septic tanks in the city of Golden Gate City right now.
Yeah.
9,000, and some of them as old as 65 years
Yeah.
old. And if you, in the summer, during rainy season, them leach fields don't work anymore.
Right.
And they're already over capacity in these homes because they're kind of affordable. So a lot of people live in them. So
Yeah.
you'll
It's
see
a
gray
thing.
water running on surface.
Yeah.
And when you got gray water, guess where it goes? It ends up
Yep.
in that canal on the other side of the parkway.
Sure does.
Guess where that canal ends up? Down in Naples Bay. Guess where that ends up? In the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
That's why every month our health department has to test for fecal matter
Yeah.
through the bay and on the shoreline. Because we got to get these septic tanks out of
Yeah.
here if we want.
Listen, they just put my mom has a house over here right behind the old rooms to go where Hodges used to be.
Yeah.
And they just put in sewers about 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, and that house was built in 52.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
That
was a
a
big-
new septic sitting there. I can tell you firsthand.
That was a big joint project between the county and the city.
Because it
Yeah.
overlays between the two. It stops at Creech and then it goes on.
We got another one that's creeping north of there, up north of Solana and all that, trying to get the rest of that done. But eventually it's all going to go. And then they got the big outfall project where I helped the city. I got them about $10 million grant for the outfall project to so the storm water is cleaner when it's getting dumped into the
Right.
Gulf.
Right.
You used to be able to walk down the beach when the sand was eroded away and you see the pipes
Yeah.
going right into the
Right
water.
into the water, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's all we got to get rid of all that crap. We can't
Yeah.
have that anymore. So
Well, I remember I sat on the board of directors for Keep Color Beautiful, and one of our biggest things was we were around stormwater stuff, and we had these little stickers. We would stick them on there. Don't dump. Don't dump. A
Yeah.
lot of landscapers were dumping stuff,
Yeah.
including pesticides,
Yeah, yeah.
chemicals, phosphorus, all that stuff in them. And so that awareness kind of started to help the runoff situation, I think. But it takes everybody from water quality to do their part. You know,
For
what I mean? I mean,
Yeah, we can't.
it's
Yeah. Remember them blooms we had, the blue green algae, and we had the other blooms. It was probably about 7-8 years ago, and it really hurt the industry here.
Yeah, it
They're
did.
fishing,
It did,
everything.
100%.
You know.
I moved off the water for a while because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, but I got a feel good story. I just want to throw it in there. I know if we got a
Let's
minute.
close
So
with that.
We got all the time you want,
I
Dan.
don't know if you guys know.
You're killing my schedule over here.
Well, I let 2 people go ahead of me.
No,
That's
I
what I'm
want to give you
saying.
the extra time. We had a gap, so you get that extra time.
Now I got a feel good story. So I was tasked by one of the local radio stations here. I don't know if you knew Jason Jones, and he does that morning show, and they're doing a time capsule because it's 250th anniversary of the United States of America. I think on I want to say 9/11, they're going to bury it. But they asked one commissioner from each 67 counties to think of something that represents your county in a different way than most of the other counties aren't represented. I had all these people tell me, "Oh, I'll put a pickleball paddle and all this."
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I don't. So I sat back and I said, you know what? We always talk about the Panthers, the Florida Panthers. In reality, Collier County is the last place in the state of Florida where the Florida Panther is the state animal that actually lives naturally, breeds naturally here.
It is.
And if you heard back about 6 months ago, they had one cub that got abandoned by its mother, peppercorn. So FWC and the biologist knew where peppercorn was, and the mom wasn't coming back. She was maybe a juvenile. She wasn't ready to really have a cub yet or whatever, but she was abandoned in the den. So they waited, and they're like, we can't wait anymore. So they went and they took her. They brought her to Naples Zoo. Now Naples Zoo is a certified. They nurse them back. They have the glass animal hospital there and all that. So I had the opportunity, and I'm thinking, you know what? This would be cool if we can have something that represents this animal, and it's only exclusive to Collier County. So we went down there, and when Peppercorn was having her last physical, they invited me down there, and we took a paw print.
Oh, cool.
Inked the paw print, and we have it. It's on a piece of thing. We're going to get it sealed. And it was like donated, the commissioner to be putting this thing in the time capsule. So it's going to end up in the time capsule. So
Dan, that's a home
How
run.
neat.
That's a home
How
run right
neat.
there. Yeah.
I forget how much we have in our eco section of our state that is so unique. I mean, animals, wildlife. It's not just fish and alligators, and panthers. We have so much going on that there's a lot for our county to work with the state to deal with.
And we need to really, I don't know if you got, listen, back where I grew up in Western PA, and, I had cousins live in West Virginia, we called ourselves rednecks. We go hunting, fishing, all that stuff. Florida, I think, they call us crackers. I didn't want to say it, but yeah, they crackers. Listen, get all your cracker friends, go out to Everglades and kill every one of them damn python constrictors you can find.
Yeah.
Because in reality, they're eating the food source that the panthers rely on.
Yep.
And they're more efficient at killing, the rabbits, the raccoons, the small deer, and the poor panthers. That's why we're wandering a lot more now, because they're wandering for food source because of these damn boa constrictors and these pythons that don't belong out there.
Nope.
And they're competing for the same food, and they're much more efficient at catching and killing this food.
And they're spreading.
They're spreading, yeah. So if people want to help, let's do that, because we got to make sure that they can survive. The panthers can survive naturally on their natural food source. So
it's if you live here and you don't go out in nature, shame on you. Why are you here? The beach is calling, the Everglades are calling. But if you're like me, born and raised in Florida, and my kids, we're watermen. We go out. We can't. But when you go out in the back strands now, and you see there's no more birds.
It looks.
You don't see all the raccoons come around and go, "Hey man, you got some throwouts for me?" None of that's happening.
There's a lot. It's more than just the pythons. You get the giant iguanas. We got a lot of things that don't belong here anymore, and they're here.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting.
I gotta move on to the next one.
Okay.
I got
All right,
people
guys.
clamoring.
Well, thank you.
No, thank you. We could, you know what? When this is all said and done, we'll probably have you back on.
All right.
Appreciate it.
I can talk about a lot of things.
Oh,
Thank you, man.
I know. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it.
I got
Always good to see you, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me on, or having you on.
Yeah, thanks for your patience.
Because you know we have some technical things. I'm going to bring Lois up, and she's going to talk about some stuff
Yeah.
while I test this system
Okay.
to make sure. Because our next call
I've tried to get a hold of Diana, but
is 12:40.
why don't you two do it and let me do this?
Yeah.
And let me say this about Dan before he leaves. You know, from a community thing, I have a company. We did Country Jam in Naples, and Dan's one of the two, I think, commissioners that showed up and supported the event, and I see him in a lot of different places. So I appreciate you showing up to our event, doing that as well.
Yeah, thank you,
But
Dan.
man, he is like you said, he's out in the community at the events and stuff like that, supporting people trying to do big community events. So I appreciate that.
Well, thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. So
Take it and let me try to figure
what
out
I'm
over
going to
here.
do right now is I'm bringing Lois on because I need to go tinkle. I had a lot of water. I need to talk to a guest that came in that I want to get on the show. So I'm going to let Lois take over with, she's going to talk, you were going to talk about some voting polling.
I was just going to talk. Well, I was going to talk. Hello, is this thing work?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay, all
You're
right.
on.
I can talk about anything. Talk about like where the voting places
Talk
are.
about some polling places. I'm going to hit the restroom, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to call you.
Okay.
So you can test that for our next guest and then talk to our in-house guest. Because of our technical problem, we had to move a few people a little bit later. But it's working out because everybody's, oh yeah. Yeah, that's John. See if you can get him on while Lois talks.
That's John right here.
Different John.
Different John. Sorry.
Just blank.
That's blank. So we're going to, you know what? We're just going to have them call in because we can't get them on the screen. I'm missing my pencil. There's a little, I'm going to let you talk. You do your thing.
Well,
I'm going to step away for a minute. Lois is
okay.
going to tell us all about.
Well, don't tell him what I'm going to tell him about in case I don't know about it.
Okay. Lois is just going to do her thing. I'll be right back.
Yeah, this was a nice surprise to.
Hang with us. We're getting you in the green room. Hold on.
Okay. Who's Jim?
Jim.
That's okay. This was a fun idea that Miss Kristen had. She said, we just need to get the people running for office to come in here and let's give them the last pitch and so forth. And I'm not aware of what the scheduling is, but I know that they've been working on all this fun, good stuff. You aren't leaving us, Jimmy, are you? It's going to go find somebody at the back. Well, I hope you if you haven't voted, I hope you are preparing to vote. There are numerous places, as I'm sure if you have your registration, you know where to go. But I just got to say about voting, voter turnout supposedly has been so low, and we have to have people to get out and vote. Speaking with a friend of mine, she said, this is the first time I've ever voted in a primary. And I'm like, what? She goes, no, I just wait till the general election. So that's like taking a roll of the dice and throwing it and seeing what comes up. And then you just make your choice as to whoever everybody else decided that you should vote for. So I hope you'll get out and vote, even if you haven't received your not fake ballot, your ballot that you can use to take into the polls with you. I have people calling me, and I try to give them as much information as I can about each candidate if they don't know anything, and it's really kind of amazing. 19, they're pretty familiar with those candidates, but I'll tell you, the 22 has been the one that's been strangest for everybody. 22 was the one that came when Governor DeSantis redistricted the area, and that puts Collier County into another loop with a lot of the West Coast, or excuse me, the East Coast. So it's just real important that we show up and vote and know who you're voting for. The last lady I spoke to at the Veterans Breakfast on Tuesday, this past Saturday, said she just used to sort of go in there and just kind of looked at their name and just kind of voted from that perspective. There's so much information out here. And there are people, and there are people that you can just kidding. That's all right. We're having a good time. That's okay. We're all learning how to do this stuff because we start thinking, what if something emergency comes up? We have to do something. But, and she didn't know. And I tried to explain so much. And I can say pretty much everybody will be glad when tomorrow at 7:00 it's over. Then we catch our breath the next day, and all the people who didn't make it as far as they thought they would, they dust themselves off. And then the following day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we start to work on November the 3rd. Is that the election this year, November the 3rd? So I'm just curious. Do we have another guest coming in here? I was going to pull up John, but I can't do that. I can't break.
So hold on, the preview mode.
There they're doing the whatever. So I hope you can still hear me. I'm just going to keep talking because it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm still in live because I talk to myself at home all the time. Wayne and I both do. We're always yelling, "What are you saying?" I'm not talking to you. Usually I'm talking to myself or to the critters or to something in that regard. But if by any chance you want to call in to ask me a question or to say something, give me a call at 239-777-2281, 239-777-2281. And let's see if we can answer any questions for you. I don't guess I can tell you who to vote for over the line here, but we could discuss some of that stuff later. Up until yesterday, they had voting on Sunday, right? Did they have voting Sunday? Whatever. The last that they had the election, you could vote at any place you would like to vote at. But now you have to go to the regular polling booths. And there are about 15 of these suckers. West Wind Community, Haitian Baptist Church, New Hope Ministries, Florida Sports Park, South Regional Library, that's in the Alele Cultural Center, Marco Lutheran Church, obviously down on Marco Island, Vanderbilt Presbyterian Church, North Collier Regional Park, right off of Livingston, a big area, Summit Church, Tamiami Trail North, Collier County Library at Orange Blossom. That's always a busy one, as I can see. I'm looking at the sheet of the people who signed up to work either at the polls or to give out palm cards. And that one is